Uh, wait, why did my, oh, I see what happened there. Interesting. Let me restart my little chat program. Okay, let's see here. Yep. Okay, cool. All right.
We offer free mental health resources.
Gonna see if Fox puts up the interview. This is the Jesse Waters premiere, so we'll see. Good live and learn tonight. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I resisted the urge to ask our guest his thoughts on Hassan Piker. I thought let's avoid that, I guess. I figured somebody else would bring it up, but I was curious if he even knew who he was. I'm sure he's heard of him by now. But interesting discussion. You want to make sure he knows the right answer first. Well, I saw people were kind of upset that I asked him why he's not a member of DSA. I think that was a good question. I thought it was interesting. I was genuinely curious because here he is, a progressive guy. He's running on Medicare for all. He seems pretty far to the left, but he's got no affiliation with DSA on his website. He's got no endorsements from anyone related to DSA. Why not join DSA? I mean, I gave him the example of Angie Nixon, who joined DSA weeks ago and doesn't support the vast majority of their policies, just said that that's where the action is and they support universal health care. So why, I was curious, why wouldn't he join DSA? Who cares? It seems like you can be a member and not take on all of their positions. But people were like groaning in the live and learn chat that I asked him that, like, why? I don't know. I guess they were upset that he didn't join DSA or something. The question about following any streamers was a decent indirect way to get to that question. Yeah, about Hassan. Yeah. Commies versus establishment. Look at this slop. This is what the Fox viewers are being subjected to right now. They love our party. They're more excited about what's going on with us than the right. Isn't that kind of a turning of the tables, right? Like it's all been about Donald Trump, and he's the bell at the ball, and the Democrats are so boring, nothing to talk about. Now they can't stop talking about us. Look at this. This is Fox News. Just the last 5 minutes, we've been letting it play in the background, obsessed with Democrats, not even talking about Republicans in any way. But yeah, he said he doesn't follow any streamers, doesn't watch any streams, and he didn't mention any YouTubers. So he said he was like 39 years old. I figured maybe he follows somebody. He seemed very normy, like nice guy, but he seemed a little out of touch with the movement. I don't know if there's excitement for people like him out there, sort of a resist lib, Trump's first administration, maybe no King's protest attending. Nothing wrong with any of that, but it does seem like the energy and the excitement is with the DSA types, even if you disagree with 90% of their platform. That's where the anti-establishment, that's where the go-getters are. And so he's kind of running on a hashtag resistance platform that I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens. Francois, thank you for using your Prime over here, man. Appreciate that. The canoe race with MAGA story was cringe. Um, yeah, he was also kind of touting bipartisanship, which I have a lot of respect for, but I'm not sure the Democratic voters are yearning for working with the Republicans. So he's also going up against a very powerful, no drama candidate who had no competition the last two elections in 24 and 2022. I looked in the Democratic primary for Massachusetts' first congressional district, and he ran uncontested, Richie Neal. So he's going up against a juggernaut. It's not going to be easy. L take on Jeffries. That actually felt more in line with where the people he is associated with are at. This, I'm Jeffries isn't where I want to be. And, in all fairness, Jeffries isn't signed on to Medicare for all. And that is a big issue right now for people. That's kind of a deal breaker for a lot of people. Absolutely L take on Jeffries. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is it unfair for me to ask him, would you vote for Jeffries? I feel like I was asking questions that you get if you go on mainstream media, because there's a reason why they ask those questions. They get to the heart of where somebody stands. But I was really interested in the DSA thing. Like, why would you not run as DSA? I would have liked to ask him more about socialism and just kind of get his thoughts on DSA and all that. Jeffries was also a Medicare for All sponsor in 2019, 2021. Yeah, I don't know the exact dates, but I know that he is, as of now, he's not co-sponsor on the bill. That could be for a variety of reasons. I mean, I look at the bill that Jayapal has that 114 Democrats are signed on to, and I have my concerns as well. I mean, right in the text, it says, you can go look on Congress's website, congress.gov, and see the text. It says within a year of the bill being enacted, they'll drop the age of Medicare to 55 years old. And that doesn't seem like a good idea. I'll be honest. Like, I understand the idea of Medicare for all is to get everybody in the system, but I think we need a little time to ramp up resources. I don't think we're going to be ready for 10 more years worth of people to jump into Medicare for all. We can deal with the revenue raising portion with taxes and all that, but I don't even know if a year is able to do that in a year either. But just the sheer resources to help people and make sure everybody has access to a doctor, I don't see that happening in a year. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. I hope to vote out my geezer do nothing rep with a young guy, and the geezer won 70-20 because he was exciting 20-year-olds. What race was that? I was pleased he said he would not be antagonistic with leadership, at least. Yeah. I tip my hat to people like him though running. I mean, boy, you can't help but be inspired by his optimism. Everybody's so doomer and so negative now, and it's all about APAC and corporate money and just how bad things are and everything's miserable. That guy having the time of his life. Umfeme, oh yeah, he's big shot. He's been around. He was like head of the NAACP for a while, so that guy's not going anywhere. I don't know if Fox has this interview yet. I'm hoping we can find it somewhere. Upcoming. Oh, they have it coming out at 6:45. Oh, okay, so about 15 minutes. So I think this interview is going to be very simple. It's going to be, well, I'm not worried about Hassan Piker, a Twitch streamer. I'm concerned about the cost of living here in Michigan, something like that. He's just going to deflect. He's not going to take anything head on. Oh my God, Yeller with the 20 gifted memberships. Hello. Yeah, I'm sick of the deflecting, man. I think El Sayed had a bad day on social media, man. He got dragged by everybody, whether it was Hakeem Jeffries or other Democrats or leftists like Mike from PA, who said Chuck Schumer's signature was all over his statement. I mean, there was nobody happy with his statement.
Good evening, you all, and thanks for the awesome streams. Future man.
November, thank you for the resub on Twitch.
Really lib time flies when you're having fun. Really lib.
Appreciate that. And Six Pink with a big resub. Wow. Thank you guys for the subs. I appreciate that. Hell yeah, let's update this here. So we're at 26 now. Damn. Okay. Yeller hooking some people up on YouTube. That is awesome. How was the chat experience in the Live and Learn channel? What did you guys think? Was it a nightmare? Did you have a positive impact on the unruly people? What was it? Could you even stand it? I don't know. I saw a bunch of names I haven't seen in years over there. Loved it. Ass. Wow. It was fine. Got spicy. I just say block people, man. Twitch was getting a little aggro more than YouTube. Didn't pay much attention to the chat. Mods were on it. Wow. Mods kept things in check, huh? I think it's kind of cool to see the mods all hanging out and everybody just in one space. It's kind of interesting. We used to have stuff like that back in the day on Twitch where people would host shows and everybody would come together, and those kind of things don't exist anymore. So, it's not the worst thing in the world, I guess. Didn't see anything too exciting. Gifted like 10 subs. They all went to mods. Nice.
I liked that guest. Really seemed like the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what chance he has. It's tough to rate a race like that, and I haven't heard any complaints about Richard Neal, and he's very powerful as the highest ranking Democrat on the Ways and Means Committee, which is a committee most people never heard of, but it deals with taxation. And I mean, he played a role in Biden's big bills like the infrastructure or the Inflation Reduction Act, American Rescue Plan. So, he's a well-known commodity, so I doubt they want to get rid of him just because he's old or something. But I did like his energy, and I like that he was inspired to run. I mean, that guy could do anything in life, and he chose to try to be a public servant. I got tons of respect for that, and he has a great attitude. Good for him. Think you're my longest running sub. That's awesome. I really like how Live and Learn has grown. It has come a long way. Well, I have a new show in the works. I haven't talked about it, but my co-host is talking about it, Mr. Mooten. So we got another podcast in the works. Probably in the next month, we'll launch it. So that's exciting. Doesn't mean I'm leaving Live and Learn or anything like that. It's just another opportunity to team up with a different group of people and a different approach. I think that's a good step, you know, like you want to keep doing stuff like that. The Lib Power Hour. Yeah, I don't know who else will be involved, if anyone else, and you know what it'll be called and all that, but it is in the works. When? I don't want to say when yet. We haven't figured that out. But I think it'll be a weekly thing. And, you know, just another chance.
Turn out for what?
Saxo, thank you for the 5 gifted subs on Twitch. Hell yeah. Let's go. It's just another chance to talk politics, you know. I love engaging with the stories of the week, and I think that's kind of the goal, is just to go over what's going on in the news with different people. You all split the subs and bits equally over on Live and Learn? I don't think we have any idea. Right now, that's the first time we've ever done it, and I think the money will just go into a pot to like pay artists to make the graphics. Pisco hired somebody to make those graphics you guys saw, and so I think he's in the hole a little bit there, so we just give him the money until that's done, and then I think we just use the money from that for the channel. I don't need the money from over there. I'm perfectly happy just with what comes through my community on my stream. So, and nobody has said they want a cut of it or anything like that. So I think it's just to be reinvested in the podcast. I mean, the real goal is to have a bigger view count and a higher viewership so we can pitch the podcast to bigger guests, right? It makes sense. Ever see the Animatrix? I heard of that. I never seen it though. You should do a deep dive into Polymarket and Kalshi to see if it's even worth anything. I could tell you right now, it's not worth anything. If you're talking about, are they good at predicting the results? I would say no. They had Francesca Hong at 95% chance of winning for like 2 months. And then the night of the election, they started flip-flopping. So that is gambling. You might as well buy scratch it tickets. Total waste of money. I wouldn't even bother. Completely speculative. Just gambling. I do bring it up as a data point just to show people what's going on, right? I'll be like, okay, look at Polymarket. They've got this race at this. Doesn't mean I say, okay, that's going to change my mind, because I think the Wisconsin primary night proved how useless the betting markets are. So this video is going live here in 10 minutes. It says El Sayed grilled on taxing the rich, socialized healthcare. I don't think you're very good at math is one of the quotes. Wow. This must have been a knockdown, drag out fight. Bar fight right here. Abdul El Sayed going into the lion's den. Fox News, after a rough day for Abdul, man. Not a good day for Abdul El Sayed. He had to put out a statement because Hassan ran his mouth. Again, remember a couple weeks ago I said, Abdul El Sayed needs to drop Hassan because the quotes are going to keep coming, and they are topical. They are contemporary. Not topical. They are contemporary, right? Contemporaneous. These are no longer, hey, Abdul El Sayed, Hassan Piker said something 7 years ago. Can you respond to that? No. This weekend, Hassan ran his mouth, and now Abdul El Sayed has to put out a statement to address it. That's not good. That is not what you want to be doing if you're Abdul El Sayed. You're going to win the race by talking about Trump, by talking about affordability. If the conversation keeps coming back to Hassan Piker and your association with him, you're not going to win. That's how you lose, because you're not going to win more voters than Mike Rogers when it's a jump ball right now, because people think you're principled to hang with the guy that you campaigned with during the primary and they know you're not two-faced, that's not going to win people over. And you need to expand your voters, your coalition. This guy got less than 50% of the Democratic voters on election night. And so you can't just try to hold on to the ones you already had. You got to win over more people. So not a great day for Abdul said. I can only imagine how pissed he was at Hassan and his bullshit and the fact that he has to respond. And so I think it's only a matter of time until this happens again and a couple more times. And he says, okay, enough with this guy. I got to find a way to detach him from me. Hassan fans are out in force on liberal subreddits. Nice. What was Hutch alluding to when he said that big leftist creators were pissed at Abdul El-Sayed? What was that in reference to? Because I only saw Mike from PA, and Mike from PA is not someone I would consider a big leftist. So is there some other names that have spoken out that you would assume are big fans of Abdul El-Sayed that have voiced their criticism of his statement? I would love to know more. I'm not in the loop on that one. What did Hassan say? Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to take a look and see if we can find Hassan's reaction. I'm sure he'll say something like, well, I understand why he did this, and it totally makes sense. Hassan seems to think that he's doing what he needs to do to help Abdul El-Sayed win, but he can't stop running his mouth about Jewish people, so that's getting him into trouble. He got butthurt. Hassan? Is this live? My stream is live, but this video is not live yet. It's live in 5 minutes. But it's a recording from about an hour ago. It's not going to be live on Fox. Let's listen to our African brother. Hell yeah. He knows the struggle of the black man in America. His family's from Africa. That to me is so wild. I am shocked that he even thought that was a good thing to say. Crazy, man. It's already on Fox's website. No, I don't like their player. And I wanted some time to sit here and talk to people anyways. But this will be live in a minute or two. I didn't get a chance to say this on the podcast, but I am starting to seriously consider that we're going to lose this race. I am really starting to wonder how we win this because, and it's not because of anything but the conversation around the race is all about Abdul and Hassan and anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. That's not how we win. And I don't see how that's going to change between now and November if this guy doesn't do something drastic. And I'm afraid that he doesn't feel he has to. And so that's why I keep highlighting to you guys how we win the Senate even without Michigan. And I think it may actually happen. I think this race is not a must-win race based on the latest polls and what's going on. I do think we're going to win Republican turnout. We'll be so depressed that losing a few Democratic voters would be okay. I agree with you in general, but I think people will come out for this race because they're not excited about Trump. I'm talking about Republican voters. They're not excited about Trump. They're pissed off about the war. They are beaten down by the economy. They are pissed about the Epstein files. They are annoyed by Trump, and he's bleeding support. But what they are responding to is Islamophobia and losing their way of life. And the Republicans are selling this race as the future of America and the scary Islam. And I think that will motivate a lot of Republicans to come out. Trump cannot motivate them with his policy and his agenda and what he's done. But the fear of losing America and this whole country going a different direction, and it all starts with this guy getting in and his friend who said America deserved 9/11. I could see that motivating people in Michigan to go out and vote, which is sad because this should be a layup for us. This race should be so easy. This should be right up there with John Ossoff is and Maine as a slam dunk. He's a lost cause, not going to cut Hassan. I mean, the fact that he got a lot of blowback today.
Saeed might have to take a few photo ops at the Wailing Wall if he wants to start mending fences.
A little trip to Jerusalem. Not a bad idea. Yeah, I'm getting real sick of the lip service about anti-Semitism, too. I am really tired. Like, it's not enough. It's time for action. And, or rhetoric in the other direction, like not telling everybody how much you hate anti-Semitism, but addressing why people are concerned about that. And that means like throwing Hassan under the bus or just pushing back real hard on anti-Semitism, but in a real way. Not, I care so much about Jewish people. I love Jewish people, you know? It's so dumb. It's not helping. It's not doing anything. He thinks if he just says how much he loves Jewish people and hates anti-Semitism, that will solve the problem. That's not working. That's like telling your kids to study hard and they'll become doctors. And when they're out there smoking weed, skateboarding, you know, it's like, dude, it's not working, dude. Like you just telling your son to study hard. He doesn't want to be a doctor, man. So time to do something else. Maybe approach things a little differently here. How's El Sayed going to survive the 25th anniversary of 9/11? Well, the fact that it's the 25th anniversary will help because it's so distant from people's minds. But yeah, it's going to be a rough day for him, that's for sure. Maybe Hassan should take the day off. What day of the week is September 11th? Let's see. It is a Friday. Oh boy, that's a stream day for Hassan. All right, here we go. The premiere of Abdul El Sayed on Fox News. This is the interview everyone's been waiting for. Jesse Waters versus Abdul El Sayed. Two gladiators. Will Abdul throw Hassan under the bus? How many times will Abdul El Sayed deflect? No, I don't think he's a Republican plan. I think he's a bit of an egomaniac. Probably why he likes hanging out with Hassan. Well, let's see. Maybe he does a great job in this interview. Who knows? We'll find out. 30 seconds. I want to root for this guy, man. I want him to win. Tough to watch him tank his campaign. Give Mike Rogers a chance when he shouldn't even have one. Should be a total blowout. Two, one.
Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed joins us now. How you doing, Abdul?
I'm good, Jesse. I appreciate the opportunity for a good, wholesome conversation, and I just want to start where we agree. We both played football and lacrosse. We both love America. We both love freedom, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Absolutely.
All right. See, that's what I'm saying. You got to lay it on thick, man. Sounds cringe, but he needs to be saying how much he loves America every time he's got a camera in front of him. Sadly, he's got to overcompensate for all the bullshit that people think about him. So if I were him, that would be what I lead with on everything. I'd be like, Jesse, I want to take a moment and say the Pledge of Allegiance, if you don't mind. I just like to do that 3 times a day, and it just happens to be now. So if you say it with me, that'd be great.
We'll see how much we agree on. I know I don't agree with you on this. You want to abolish ICE. Who's going to deport the criminal aliens from the country?
Wow. Going at it right away. You want to abolish ICE. Who's going to deport the criminals?
Well, you and I both know that long before we ever had ICE, we had INS. We were able to enforce our immigration policies without shooting people in the face and the back of the head. And we just celebrated our 250th anniversary. That was an anniversary of throwing away tyranny. Now, to bring that tyranny back under the guise of the U.S. government itself, that seems to me to be inconsistent with the freedom you and I both love.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a dodge, Abdul. They did the same thing as ICE back then, INS. Do you know how many illegal aliens are in the country now?
They didn't shoot people in the face and the back of the head.
Do you know how many illegal aliens are in the country now?
To your point, Jesse, let me just answer the question. To your point,
how many do we have?
Far fewer when we had INS.
Jesse is looking foolish right here. And I don't think Abdul is giving a great answer, but Jesse looks like he's not looking very good in this either. But it's just, why not answer this question if you're Abdul al-Sayed and just say, look, I believe we need federal enforcement of our immigration laws, but not like this. And we can return those responsibilities to another agency like we did before because Trump has completely corrupted ICE. But I do not want to eliminate a federal agency going after undocumented criminals in this country. I mean, you got to say stuff like that.
To your answer, we had
exactly.
Far fewer when we had INS. So arguably, INS worked a lot better.
Abdul, listen, we had twice as many illegals now when we had INS.
So to your argument,
you have to have the manpower to do it.
If you want to do that correlation, we have ICE now, and we have far, far more undocumented people. So ICE is clearly not working. It's just shooting like American citizens in the face and the back of the head. So
well,
if you're okay
illegals
with that,
are shooting people in the face too.
Agree to disagree.
Abdul, you got a guy in Michigan.
So are American citizens.
You got a guy. Let me just say,
I do not understand why there's a delay in 2026. There is no delay on Discord when I talk to my co-hosts on the podcast, and we don't talk over each other. Why is there still a delay in 2026 when it comes to national television, man?
Responsibility to get back to the conversation about citizens.
You got a guy. Let me just say something. Okay,
to get back to the conversation about the broader issues.
Okay.
Well, you cut me off, Jesse, and you said we're going to have a good conversation. So I'd like to do that. I just want to answer the point. When I travel the state, and I have traveled my state, more people are asking me about how they're going to afford their gas and groceries.
Illegals are shooting people in the face too is not the defense Jesse thinks it is.
Yeah. I also don't think this is a great point by Abdul al-Sayed that we have more undocumented people here. So obviously ICE isn't working. Jesse will just say that's because Biden and the Democrats let tens of millions of them in during Biden's presidency.
Not asking me about immigration.
Well, they also don't want to get molested. Abdul, you got a guy here from Southeast Asia, molested a kid. ICE just picked him up. You want that guy to stay in Michigan?
Isn't this what I call it? I called this a mile away. It's a little early, but this is exactly what's going to happen 2 years from now when all the Democrats are out there running. They're going to get asked about their position of abolishing ICE, and the person talking to them will bring up some crazy thing that just happened with an undocumented immigrant harming a child, and they'll say, you want to abolish ICE? And there'll be no context. There'll be no energy. Nobody will remember Renee Good or Alex Preddy, and they'll just look like they're insane.
I'm glad that guy got picked up, but that's a different thing than saying that INS would not have picked him up. Jesse, you're too smart for this.
It's a bureaucratic game you're playing, and that's a dodge.
You point to him, you say,
you need guys to get these guys out of the country.
And therefore, ICE, we need ICE. I'm just saying, look, playing by your own rules. When we had INS, we had fewer people doing the things that you're talking about.
That's because Biden didn't blow open the border back then.
When we had that.
All right, that's because Biden didn't blow open the border back then.
And that's not an ICE question. That's a CBP question.
No,
Jesse,
you guys let in a ton of people, and we got to get them out, and we'll take the guys out the way we need to take them out. Green New Deal, you back that up. Do you drive an electric car?
I drive a plug-in hybrid made right in the United States. The bigger question about cars, though, is why the president just started a trade war or escalated a trade war with Canada. It's about to make all of our cars, especially the internal combustion engine cars, so much more expensive.
You want to get rid of the internal combustion engine?
No, I don't. Who told you that?
That's what the Green New Deal says.
My dad came to America to design internal combustion engines. No, that's
not what the Green New Deal says. Phase out fossil fuels.
Build renewable energy opportunities. Look, I'm not going to defend the Green New Deal. What I'm telling you, though, is that we could make a whole lot more amazing jobs if we actually invested in renewable energy. You're on the record as backing the Green New Deal, Abdul. Look, I'm just telling you this. Are you opposed to the idea that we could reduce energy costs and create jobs in Michigan?
Absolutely, but I don't want windmills in Lake Michigan.
So you're absolutely opposed to that?
Yeah, I don't want to put windmills in Lake Michigan.
Do you? Have windmills.
I don't think the people in Michigan want that, Abdul.
If you're
running on that, that's not going to go over too well.
We have a pipeline. No. I mean, Jesse, look, we can have a conversation if you want to. You want to keep cutting me off. We could keep doing that too. But you told me we're going to have a good conversation. I just want to talk about something.
Go ahead.
Right now, we have an oil pipeline in the Great Lakes. If that oil pipeline were to burst, the consequences for our Great Lakes would be disastrous. Now, you're telling me that you'd rather have a situation where that happened than a windmill? That really is so offensive to you?
No.
Now, those windmills are good
I'm saying I don't want to get rid of fossil fuels, and that's what the Green New Deal does. Let's move on. You want to...
This is a horrific waste of time for everybody involved. Jesse is not a serious person. But it kind of shows you how little the Republicans have. He thinks he's killing it right now, but these are kind of boring talking points, like the Green New Deal, ICE. You know, people, they want to know about the cost of living, man. I can't imagine the Republican audience getting all worked up over this. I mean, these talking points have been around forever. Windmills, and all this. Okay, man.
I'm not saying that either. Look.
Abdul, because this isn't a podcast. I got to sell ads in the breaks. You want to soak the rich. Let's listen to what you said about the taxes. Run it.
I also think we got to start taxing wealth for people who have over $100 million. I mean, at that point, like, what even are you going to do with more money?
What are you going to do with more money? I mean, whatever I want.
I mean, Jesse, I don't know how much you make. Look, I don't know how much you
$1 billion.
Make, I think I'd rather have... Well, yeah, look, so that's exactly it, right? The question ultimately is, do you want to drive on good roads, or would you rather have a billionaire make a second billion? That's what Mike Rogers wants. That's what Donald Trump wants. Apparently, that's what you want. I think the people in Michigan want something different. They want good roads and good schools.
So you're saying Beyonce, who just became a billionaire, she has to break you off something every year? She has to pay the politicians?
It's not me. It's the American public.
You're
Beyonce,
the one that wants the money.
To be able to contribute back to the public schools that she went to. I think she'd be happy to invest in good roads in her community. I think she'd be happy to pay a little bit more so that everybody had a little bit more.
You're reaching a little deep into the pockets,
to be defending
Abdul.
Billionaires from your channel, Jesse. That's a crazy thing. I thought you were for, I'm just saying, look, at the end of the day, I thought you were for the everyday man. Like, if you're for billionaires more than you're for every other person, well, you and I are just going to disagree.
No, I just think
Okay, pretty good exchange there. Bulagni, thank you for the prime. Probably butchered that, but appreciate that.
I have the right to the fruits of my own labor. That's America. It's not communist, what you're talking about.
No, the problem
Let
with
me
it,
ask
Jesse,
you
is
about
you
socialized.
So I would ask him, why do you agree to pay any taxes then? Why do you think the current tax rate is fair, Jesse? Why not lower that even further? Why do you think what you are spending now is worth it? You know, it's same thing with paying for college. Why is it acceptable to pay for K through 12, but not to pay for anything else, right? Like, why is it okay for us to pay for Social Security? Why do we pay? I would just press people. Why are you okay with paying for all these other things? You probably would have fought tooth and nail against them if you had a chance to.
Healthcare.
Billionaires don't make money. Let me just answer the question.
Sure.
No, let me go back to that.
Go ahead.
Billionaires don't make their money off of their labor. That, I think, is where you head off. Billionaires that make their money off their money. So if you have $1 billion, your billion makes another 100 million. That's not the fruits of your labor. That's just the fruits of your money making money. I think it's okay. Like if we tax you at 7%, you're still gonna make what, a cool $30 million off your $1 billion. I think it's okay. They're gonna be okay, Jesse.
Yeah, I just don't like the idea of politicians like you capping how much money people make in America. That's just me. We can have the voters in Michigan decide. You say you want socialized health care. Abdul, how much is that going to cost?
It's going to cost the average Michigander a whole lot less than they pay right now. But I'm just going to tell you.
No, but what's the
I'm
price
up against
tag
a
of the
guy
program?
who voted to raise prescription drug prices 19 times, right? And so I'm just saying I want to bring your costs down. The price of the program is going to be substantially less for an everyday person who's out here who can't afford their health care and worried about losing their health care with their job.
Well, give me the total number.
Look, while you're out here trying to talk about the broader national budget, I'm a lot more interested in the everyday budgets that Michiganders are thinking about. And that's exactly the budget that Donald Trump and Mike Rogers are blowing up right now.
Well,
I just don't see why you're so on the side of the billionaires, Jesse, rather than on the side of everyday Michiganders.
No, because I don't want you guys to blow the country up. Do you know how much the federal budget is now?
No, neither do I. Here's exactly
What's the federal budget?
You guys want to, right, Pete Hegseth,
Jesse is doing a terrible job here, man. Very immature, ridiculous. This is just kind of sad to watch. He should ask him. You tell me, what is it? And I bet you Jesse doesn't know, right? Anytime someone's asking these kind of questions, they never know the answer themselves. But this feels like my TikTok debates, man. This is crazy.
So answer the question. Do you know what the federal budget is?
To raise, no. I just want to talk about this. Look, you want to talk about budgets? I'm happy to do that. The guy who used to work on your channel, I think he was like the 6th host on the 5. He wanted to raise our military budget to $1.5 trillion, and you don't seem to be upset about that. What? So we could fight a war we don't know how to get out of? To raise our gas prices $5 a gallon? That doesn't make sense to me, Jesse. We want to talk about the things that we actually should spend on. To me,
I
that's
have a feeling, Abdul, you don't even know how much money the government spends every year. Do you know?
Look, the question, Jesse, to me
All right,
is,
so you don't know. Let me tell you what it is. It's $7 trillion a year. And your plan
Jesse,
to take over the healthcare system is $4 trillion.
Here's the problem with it. So to exactly your point,
I mean,
do you know what
I'm not very good at math. I don't think you're very good at math either, but go ahead.
Clearly you don't. And you don't seem to care. But I don't think most Americans
Can't even hear. I got to go back and try to understand what Jesse was saying there. Jesse looks so weak here, man. Like you could pound on Abdul El-Sayed with some of these topics, but not like this, you know. But it just makes him look weak that he has to talk over him. He's got to be rude. It's like, calm down, little guy. Have a conversation, man.
I'll tell you that is secondary. And here's the problem with it. So to exactly your point, I mean, do you know what
I'm not very good at math. I don't think you're very good at math either, but go ahead.
Clearly you don't. And you don't seem to care. But I don't think most Americans want to spend that much money on military escapades so that the folks stranded on the USS Abraham Lincoln can't even get a sausage for breakfast. I just think that we could do a lot better with our money, Jesse, and I think that's where you and I tend to disagree.
I just disagree.
Mike Rogers agrees with you.
I think if you spend $4 trillion, everything else is going to get really expensive. You're going to look back at Bidenflation, and you're going to wish you were back there. But you brought...
This is so... I mean, Abdul knows this subject like the back of his hand due to writing the book on Medicare 5-6 years ago. Why doesn't he just... He should be able to annihilate Jesse on this. Like, how much is it going to cost? Well, it's estimated to cost this, but that's half what we're paying now. And, you know, that would be comprehensive and universal as well. So what are we doing here, man? Bring up how much the average person is paying right now and say, we don't have to live like this. They don't do that in Canada, the United Kingdom, on and on. I don't know. He did already say 1.5. Yeah, but it's like, why play their game? Talk about how much the individual's paying and how much it will save them. That's what matters. That's my selfish politics. Like, nobody gives a shit if you tell them that it's going to cost $1 trillion less over 10 years, right? It's like, that doesn't mean anything to a person. $1 trillion is like insane, and nobody cares about anybody else anyways. So you might as well just tell people right now, the average insurance plan costs X, and under Medicare for all, it would cost Y, which is cheaper and more comprehensive. And oh, by the way, all your neighbors can access it too and get that mental health care they need to improve their lives and take care of that thing that's been bugging them so they can be more functional in society. Abdul should have asked Jesse where he gets his hair done. Jesse disagrees we can do better. Yeah. I don't understand that argument. Like, I am lucky enough to be able to afford private health insurance without an employer, and it is $760 a month for a silver plan with a $1,500 deductible, $8,000 maximum out of pocket, $85 copay for a specialist. That's outrageous, man. Outrageous. And I can only imagine how many people are not in my position and wouldn't be able to afford that. I mean, it's a car note for a lot of people. That's not sustainable, man.
Up foreign policy.
You want to talk about inflation? I'd be happy to talk about inflation. Jesse, you actually said the word. Because everywhere I go in Michigan, people are talking about the fact that they've never had to worry as much about life being as unaffordable as they say right now. Now, I get it. Donald Trump likes to blame everything on his predecessor. But let's be clear, this is Donald Trump's economy right now. And he's about to make everything so much worse because he's in a vanity war with the Prime Minister of Canada. And look, like, I'm in Michigan, and you're from New York, right? So you know Canadians, man. They're the only people I know
And he
who
voted
apologize
for
before they even did it.
Obama.
He should just turn it around on Jesse and Trump. I don't know, Jesse, how much has the deficit ballooned under Trump? Are you allowed to answer that?
Yep. That would be a good one. Thank you, Daz, for the $10 super chat. Yeah, I mean, flip this on him, man. I don't know. They both kind of suck. Like, it's like two macho men, trying to wrestle with each other. I mean, I don't know. How could you even handle this interview? Jesse is just doing his script and he thinks he's cooking. It's like, what? This is why people don't go on his show. Let's see. What are we gonna do about inflation here? But yeah, I agree. Talking about the deficit and how much more Trump is spending now is a great point. Can't do it when the hosts just yell over you. Yeah.
So much worse because he's in a vanity war with the Prime Minister of Canada. And look, like, I'm in Michigan, and you're from New York, right? So you know Canadians, man. They're the only people I know who apologize before they even did his thing. So now they're raising the tariff to 50%. What's that going to do to inflation?
Yeah, what is spending $4 trillion going to do? I think it's going to make it a lot worse. But you brought up the war. Are you glad the Ayatollah is dead?
Yeah, I mean, look, he was a terrible person, but that's beyond the point. The bigger question is, should we have gone to war in the first place? Look, I just want to be clear with you, right? I mean, I'm never going to defend the Iranian regime, but I am going to defend the idea that we probably shouldn't be fighting wars we don't know how to get out of. Oopsie, you go to war and you tell us that it's going to be a special military operation. That was in February. We're now in September almost, and we're still fighting the special military operation. I mean, it's not working for us, Jesse.
We're not really
this is exactly what happens when you've got a dunce in the White House who doesn't know what he's doing.
So you'd go back in time, you'd give them back their nuke program, you'd give them back their Air Force, their Navy.
No, I'd go back to the time when we were at peace and we actually had nuclear containment. Now, Jesse, you like to, I mean, look, I understand selective memory about history, but we had a JCPOA that was well negotiated, that actually had nuclear non-proliferation far more securely than what we have right now after having gone to war for the better part of 6 months.
Yeah, I like the fact that the nuke program's buried under a mountain of rubble. They can't even get access to it, but that's me. I think we'll figure it out.
Oh, Jesse, this would be great. You mean the nuke program that was obliterated last summer? That had nothing to do with this war, Jesse. So you and me both, man. I'm glad that worked out. It was risky, but it worked out. But so why did we go to war now then? If that happened last summer, I don't get it. Jesse's so elementary. This is the worst interview I've ever seen. Kid is cooked. Who? El Sayed? I think he's doing a decent job here against this guy who's just playing games. I mean, but boy, the $4 trillion talking point can easily be dismissed. It's like, right now we're paying X. That's cheaper than what we're paying now, Jesse. Hello? I guess you're not out there talking to people paying $1,000 a month for their health insurance, but that's not sustainable. So if we shift over to a system like I'm advocating for, everybody out there is going to save hundreds of dollars a month.
The thing you said about
so let's just stop there. So
Sure.
Jesse, wait. I understand you're not good at math. I get that. I'll give you that. But science, we got to talk about science, okay?
Yeah.
You understand that like nuclear material doesn't just go away because you buried it under a mountain of rubble. You understand they could still go back and bury it out, right?
Yeah,
You
we're
get
watching
that.
it from Space
Right.
Force.
So
and anybody
we're not any
that
more
goes near
secure
it,
than we were back then.
Okay.
You black-pilled me on Live and Learn with your Supreme Court take. Okay. Sorry I told you about reality. I don't know what fantasy is being sold to people that we're going to get rid of the filibuster in 2029 and pack the court and sail to victory. I mean, it's ridiculous in my opinion. I don't see that happening. No shot, man. Like, we got to be realistic here. This is the whole point of my channel. If people are banking on we're going to pack the court in 2029, I think you're being a bit ridiculous. Okay, the country's over. All right, well, we don't need to hear from you anymore then. The country's over. So you should go get involved in something else. Country's over. Leftists hate reality. Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's a world in which things work out well and we have enough votes to get rid of the filibuster, and I guess we try to pack the court, but I mean, what's to stop the Republicans from doing the exact same thing 8 years later, you know? And then Pisco's response is, well, Thomas Jefferson didn't do it, you know? Well, we never had a Speaker of the House kicked out either, but that happened in 2023. So here we are. I mean, a lot of unprecedented things happening, you know what I mean?
Let's move on. You said getting rid of Sharia law was white supremacy. Let's roll the tape. Go.
I don't have to tell you that the same exact forces that drove native peoples from their land 2 centuries ago, destroyed Black Wall Street a century ago, bombed a building decades ago, and tried to ban Sharia law not a decade ago, that those forces are alive and well today.
So
it's not good for Abdul. That's not a good one. I haven't seen that. Sharia law. He like pronounced it with the accent and everything. Oh my God. That's not good. Why would he say that? Why would he? That's like saying ISIS or Al-Qaeda in like in the way that it's pronounced in Arabic or something. Like, what? Showing respect or something to it? Like, what the fuck? That's terrible, dude. That looked old though. He looked heavy there. Oh my God. We aren't getting this seat. It's not looking good, man. Come on, Abdul. You got like 70 days to pull it together, bro.
The evil bigots want to ban white supremacy.
Oh no. Oh boy.
getting rid of Sharia laws, white supremacy. Can you explain that one?
Do you know what canon law is? Jesse, I assume you're Christian, right?
Yeah, tell me.
All right, so canon law is the name for Christian law. I don't begrudge you your right to practice your faith as you choose. I don't know why the idea that I could practice my faith as I choose is a problem. Nobody is trying to push Sharia law on anyone else, just like I hope nobody is trying to push canon law on anybody else, because we live in an America where you should have the freedom of your religion. So the idea that you have somebody like Tommy Tuberville, right, who, you know, barely was...
I don't think this is a great answer. Listen, I'm not trying to push Sharia law. It's like he's okay with Sharia law being somewhere. Nobody's chill with Sharia law. I mean, maybe there's a different definition of Sharia law, but my understanding, and I think the colloquial understanding, is like women can't go to school, got to wear veils. Like, and if that's what everybody, including me, thinks. Sharia translates path to water, divine guidance. Application in modern governance. Roughly half of Muslim majority nations use Sharia principles, primarily for civil matters like marriage, divorce, inheritance, child custody. Smaller number of countries incorporate Sharia into criminal statutes, which include fixed penalties. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure the definition of Sharia law is perhaps not as extreme as people believe, but the point is people think it means the most extreme things possible, right? So it sounds like he's defending Sharia law and the extreme elements of it anywhere in the world. It's like, I'm not trying to push that on you. I mean, if, okay. Sharia law states wife gets half the estate in a divorce, sons get 50%. Do you disavow that? No. I mean, I'm sure there's totally normal things. I'm sure most of Sharia law is normal. I have no idea, but your average American thinks Sharia law is Afghanistan under the Taliban. You know what I mean? So this is kind of a weird answer for him to be like, I'm not trying to push your Christianity on you. That's also not a great answer too, right? Like put the Sharia law aspect of his argument aside and just talk about the Christian parts. Like, I'm not trying to push Christianity on you. It's like, what do you mean? We love Christianity here. No, I don't know. People aren't really thinking about it as really freedom of religion right now, especially on the right. They're like, we are losing our country. We are a Christian country built on Christianity with Christian values. And yes, you can practice your religion here, but Christianity needs to be the dominant religion. I mean, that's where people are at in this country right now, especially on the right. My mom is going to literally die when she sees that clip. Oh, no. Poor mom.
Trying to push canon. I don't know why the idea that I could practice my faith as I choose is a problem. Nobody is trying to push Sharia law on anyone else, just like I hope nobody is trying to push canon law on anybody else, because we live in an America where you should have the freedom of your religion. So the idea that you have somebody like Tommy Tuberville, right, who, barely was good at coaching football, is out here trying to ban Sharia law when there's less than 1% of the Muslim community in America, as if somehow Muslims are out here trying to push Sharia law, that seems to me to be deliberately targeting the Muslim community because they're different. And I'm just saying that, like, I have no issue with people practicing their faith. In fact, I would never want somebody to push their faith on me, and I would never want to push my faith on somebody else.
Good, because no one wants you to get rid of your religion.
And so the idea,
no one wants that.
So, but when people preemptively go out there and start preemptively passing laws to ban something that's not happening, what you're trying to do is target a very small community because they're different. And this operates. I mean, look, I'm just going to say, there's statistical evidence that the president
Sharia
and the vice
law in
president
Michigan is kind of scary. Abdul.
Yeah, this is not good from Abdul. You need to define the Sharia law here, man, because you sound like you're defending it, even though he's not. He's just defending practicing Islam. Yapping too much. No, Jesse's not really interrupting him here on purpose.
People don't go for that. It's like men aren't equal from women. It's like physical punishments.
You like to say the word. Look, Jesse, look,
people don't like to say the word.
You guys think Abdul El-Sayed is defending Sharia law? I don't think so. That's not what I take away. I take away that he's defending the freedom of religion and people practicing Islam. But, again, I'm just a layman here. I'm not trying to drill down in the definitions, but I imagine your average American hears Sharia law and they don't think, oh, you're just practicing your totally innocuous religion that's different from mine, that doesn't really do anything different. Like, no, I think that they're not thinking of some reform version of Islam that's like totally Americanized. When your average American hears Sharia law, they think women covered in veils, completely head to toe. Like, again, Taliban controlling Afghanistan right now. Girls can't go to school past the age of 8. No music, no dancing. That's Sharia law to your average American. He's saying that they can do Sharia law in their own lives. Yeah, that's not going to go over well either, right? And then he say, well, but there's people who practice extreme versions of Christianity here, and I don't tell them what to do. That's their business. Yeah, but that's not gonna, like, most people don't look at that and feel the same way as like the extreme versions of Islam in America, just because it's so different. Isn't that just Amish? I mean, probably, right? But most Americans aren't freaked out by that, whereas they have this boogeyman idea of extreme Islam coming to America. I think it would just, I'm not even going to engage in what it would be, but I don't think it's like a thing, you know? That's why he needed to push back hard and be like, nobody's advocating for Sharia law, man. I guess you've never been in a mosque, but it's guys like you and me just practicing our faith and women right next to us doing their thing. Like, he needed to really push back on this stuff.
I'm just saying,
because
I don't think that's a good position.
And scary. Nobody's pushing it. No, but Jesse, nobody's pushing it. You know what the issue is in America, in Michigan?
What?
The issue that people are worried about is not that somehow somebody's going to come and push Sharia law on them. The issue in Michigan is people are worried about how they're going to afford their gas. The issue in Michigan is, how am I going to see a doctor when I get sick? How am I going to keep my job? You're out here, honestly, you guys love to play this culture war game where you use these words that sound really foreign to avoid actually having to talk about the issues that everyday people like to talk about. Now, look, Mike Rogers is the guy I'm running against for U.S. Senate, and I know you've had him on your show. Maybe he answers questions. I don't know if he does.
I've actually never had him on.
Only, but look, you haven't. So he's ducking your show, too, because he's ducking. Look, can we all agree? Like,
I haven't
Jesse,
invited
you and I
him
are
on.
going to have a debate, right? Can we all agree that Mike Rogers is a beta? Can we all agree with that?
I haven't even had him on.
Dude won't even come on your show because he's afraid of getting grilled.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. He steered it back to his race and got to call Mike Rogers a beta. That's good.
I will have him on.
That guy,
and I'm sure it'll be
out
great.
here
But
talking
Abdul,
like, Jesse, let me just
can
say,
I back up
he's
for
out
one
here
second?
trying to talk about Mike.
Can I back up
I
for
just
1
want to
second?
finish my point. I'll finish. I swear I'll be quick.
Okay, because Mike Rogers.
He should have gone into the studio for this, man. What a lost opportunity. This is worth flying out to New York and doing some other stuff out there, you know? Like, go toe-to-toe with him in person.
Isn't here to defend himself.
He thinks he's running against Hassan Piker. Well, maybe.
Oh, he brings up Hassan Piker. Wow. No shit. Is this the new strategy here? I'm just going to bring up Hassan Piker and try to anticipate your argument? Okay, interesting. I don't think it's good, but why bring him up? Okay, let's hear this.
Trying to talk about Mike.
Can I back up for 1 second?
Finish my point. I'll finish. I swear I'll be quick.
Okay, because Mike Rogers isn't here to defend himself.
He thinks he's running against Hassan Piker. Well, maybe then he'll actually come on your show. Maybe I'm doing you a favor then. But the guy's a beta, doesn't like to answer questions, and he dodges every debate.
I don't
I'm pretty
think
sure he's going to dodge you too.
Need Mike Rogers on the show, but thanks for booking it. You know, I agree.
Wow. Jesse is such a snowflake. The Dana T, thank you for using your Prime. Appreciate that.
Great. Gas prices are too high.
Gas
prices are too high. Abdul, pipe down 1 second. Gas prices are too high. Green New Deal's not going to help that. You said that we get to keep our doctor. I've been told that before. We were lied to. So let's move on.
Jesse,
you said here. I want to move on because we do have to hit a break.
No, let me just finish the point.
Please.
You told me you want to say something.
Go ahead.
And I want to just finish my point. Okay.
Yeah.
If the only answer that Mike Rogers and Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have to this economy is to point to me and say there are scary words associated with him, I'm just going to tell you those scary words are not raising gas prices or keeping you from seeing your doctor. I'm interested in getting money out of politics, putting money in your pocket, passing Medicare for all. And I think that actually will solve problems in Michigan.
I'm not scared of you.
If you think
Abdul, I just think you're a little misguided.
Or running against my faith is going to fix problems, go ahead.
No, I just played what you said and we talked about it, so we're all good. You also said this. You want to replace the right to bear arms with the right to health care. You don't want to replace the Second Amendment, do you?
Well, look, man, I think more people are more worried about whether or not they can see a doctor than whether or not they can have a gun. I'm just going to put that out there.
I mean, you're dodging the question. Do you want to replace the Second Amendment?
I'm just saying that more people are more concerned about seeing a doctor. If we had a right to health care in this country, they probably wouldn't. And I think that'd be a...
No, not a good answer, man. You're in Michigan. I don't know what Michigan is like, but I'm pretty sure guns are quite popular in Michigan. Why not just be like, hell no, I'm not going near the Second Amendment. I'm a gun owner myself. Why even go down this road, man? Bad move for Michigan. Yeah. Right? I mean, I remember there were protests with armed people with rifles at the Capitol and under COVID that they were pissed and like, come on, man. What are we doing here?
Answering the
disagree with me
question.
that, go
Do you
ahead
want
and
to
pull it,
replace
all right?
the Second Amendment?
I'm just saying that more people are more concerned about seeing a doctor. If we had a right to health care in this country, they probably wouldn't. And I think that'd be a pretty good thing, don't you?
I think you dodged the question. And that's a pretty big one in Michigan. But I'll take it as what you said. You
Jesse,
said
look,
Colin
at the end of the day,
Kaepernick.
I'm perfectly fine with people. Let me just finish to answer your point. You said I dodged the question. I'm perfectly okay with people having their hunting rifles. It's an important pastime. I've got family that goes hunting every single year. But don't you think we should have a right to health care? Don't you think that'd be a good thing in America? Can we just...
Hunting rifles, is that going to go over well? I feel like he's burying himself now, right? He's inside the grave and he's like scooping the dirt from on top of himself. Like, is that salvaging it by saying I believe people can have hunting rifles? Is that good enough in Michigan? Is that? I feel like I don't know what it's like in Michigan, people walking around with handguns or whatever, but I feel like hunting rifles ain't gonna cut it. Nope. Hunting rifles, like every gun owner's red flag. Oh, you mean saying hunting rifles means I want to take your other guns away? He said he hunts. He said his family hunts. I don't think he said he hunts. He said he has some family that hunts, I believe. He didn't even say he hunts.
Perfectly okay with
Maybe he did. Let's see.
people having their hunting rifles. It's an important pastime. I've got family that goes hunting every single year.
He didn't even say he goes hunting. I've got family that goes hunting every year. I don't want to see them lose their hunting rifles. Okay, so I love guns. I love hunting rifles. Damn. I'd be like, I like guns. Dude, if I'm coming from a state like Michigan, I'm talking about my affinity for guns. I'd say, look, I think we don't need everybody to have 3 of them, but I got no problem with people bearing arms. You know, you got to read the room, man.
But don't you think we should have a right to health care? Don't you think that'd be a good thing in America? Can we just say that?
75% of the country likes the health care coverage they have. I don't want to screw that up.
No, 75% of the country wants guaranteed health care through Medicare for all. So maybe you have your facts. I guess
yeah,
I know you guys do alternative facts over here.
We'll
so
find out.
I'll give you that.
We'll find out in November. But that's a Gallup poll. You might not believe it, but
yes, we will.
I'm telling you what it is.
Yes, we will.
You said Colin Kaepernick was a good guy, and
I like my health care. I imagine most people like their health care if you can afford it. I don't like how much it costs, but do I like my health care? Absolutely. I get to see great doctors, and there's, you know, what complaints could I have? There's no system to compare it to. But I imagine most people would say they're okay with their health care. They're not happy with the cost.
you said the NFL was racist. What did you mean by that?
Look, I think for Colin Kaepernick's sake, I think he should have had several more years in the NFL. Now, I think he's a pretty damn good quarterback. I think, unfortunately, he lost a lot of time. But the bigger question right now when it comes to football, look, I know you guys like to think I don't like football, but I'm happy to line up against anybody who thinks that I don't like football. And I'll just tell you, the bigger issue that we have for football right now is I looked at ticket prices to try and go and see a game with my family. It's astronomical, through the roof. Now, I think football used to be the kind of thing that you could enjoy with people.
It's
That's
another
gone for
dodge,
too many
Abdul.
people. So we want to
I
talk
mean,
about football. I want to talk about access to football.
I asked you if you thought the NFL was racist because you said the NFL was racist, and now you're talking about ticket prices.
No, I'm just telling you,
You
the
wanna be
NFL is too
honest?
expensive. The NFL is too expensive. You don't agree?
All right, so you
probably
don't
can
think
afford
it's
it. You probably
racist
make a pretty
anymore?
penny. I get it.
All
But
right,
most
well,
people can't
I'm
afford it.
glad. You don't think the NFL is
Look, I'm
racist
just saying,
anymore. That's
most
good.
people can't afford that. Bigger issue with the NFL. You want to talk
All
about the NFL? The bigger issue with the NFL is too many people can't afford it. I get you probably can, and I know that you're in New York, so you have like two teams that play in the same place, so you get two options. But I'm just saying that here in Michigan, we got one team, and most people can't afford to watch them in the stadium, and I'd like to make it more affordable.
Right, so
for more
you dodged again. Sex changes for minors. Do you support that?
Look, you know, I remember having great conversations with my conservative friends about right to try legislation. The idea that the government shouldn't tell you what kind of health care you should have. I just think the government shouldn't tell you what kind of health care you should have. And if you're a minor, it's between
You want
your
to
doctor
try on
and your
kids?
parents.
It's between you, your doctor, and your parents. That's a terrible line. I mean, I understand what he's saying, but That's crazy to say it like that. Like, hey, look, if you're a little kid, that's between you and your parents. Like, what you think little kids are like taking this in? Dude, yeah, just say no, man. What the fuck? It's not happening. I would just be like, it's not happening. So no, I don't, what the hell? I don't support anything like that, man. But I know that there's some desperate parents out there that are looking for any solution. And I think whatever doctor can provide their family with some relief, then I'm for it. But I don't know, man. I guess you've never suffered as a parent, but watching your kid be miserable is impossible. I think this is the problem for the left, sadly, is we're afraid to take a position on these controversial things because we'll hurt two people's feelings. And I'm sorry, but getting into that position is worth it if you have to break some eggs in order to help those same people on a massive scale. So you just got to go say what people want to hear and be like, no, I don't support gender affirming surgery for children. And in fact, it's not even happening. Nobody's doing it. It's, I don't know. I don't have the argument, but like, come on, man. This is not that hard. Have to play the game if you want to change it. And then dodging on is the NFL racist? He should be able to clown on Jesse for that and just run circles around him on this stupid shit, man. This is a great answer. Oh, okay. Well, people in the chat seem to disagree with you.
Now, if you disagree with that, if you disagree that healthcare decisions need to be made by a doctor and their parents and a patient, then we think we agree to disagree. But, you want to put government inside.
So, Abdul,
And he voted for Obama.
It's kind of becoming obvious ICE has never had any experience running against a Republican before. He's still in gear for a primary and doesn't know it's time to shift.
I mean, he needs to go on TikTok for like 5 days for 4 hours and just debate people nonstop and hear all the talking points and then sit with his staff and go, okay, what do I say to all these points? Just use a voice changer and hide your face and just argue with people for hours and hear every talking point and then see where your weaknesses are and come up with great answers, Like these are not hard questions. I think Syed is too narcissistic to do these kinds of interviews. So I'm going to show you guys Tallarico after this, and you tell me who handled these kind of questions better. Because Tallarico put on a clinic on how to handle this sort of bullshit.
You're a doctor, right?
Selectively. Patient, then we think we agree to disagree. But, you want to put government inside.
So, Abdul, you're a doctor, right?
Selectively. I am.
So you think it's okay for a parent to slash his kid's thing-a-ling off? You think that's okay?
I mean, do you really want to have this conversation? Are you circumcised?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a
Jesse,
personal question.
Okay,
doctor.
So you probably should want to move on.
Is circumcision's different than?
Oh, that's a terrible answer, man. Why, dude? That is not the own you think it is. That has nothing to do with the issue. The issue is that in the eyes of Republicans, children are having their genitals mutilated when they're a little kid and don't know what they're doing. And the parents are playing along with it because they're delusional too. That's their argument. You are permanently scarring little kids who don't know shit and you are playing along with it, right? Nobody looks at circumcision like that. I know you could make the argument. It is. Little kids don't get to pick to have it. That nobody cares. That's not a great argument. It doesn't address the concern that he's trying to bring up. It doesn't deal with the argument. It's just an idiotic deflection. Like, oh, you're circumcised. That's not gender affirming care to have your foreskin chopped off as a little kid. Nobody, like, that's not owning anybody. That's crazy, man. And also asking another man if he has foreskin on his penis or not is not a good look. Like, that is weird behavior, dude. People in Europe view circumcision like, well, I'm a red-blooded American, and ain't nobody sitting around going, my parents mutilated me with gender-affirming care because I was circumcised. Nobody's sitting around thinking that. I don't even know how common circumcision is now, but even my generation, I've never heard someone talk about my parents are monsters for getting me circumcised. Like, I've never heard this in my life. This is just strange. Using circumcision as a pivot in a country with 50% plus circumcision rates is effing lost. I don't know, man. Cope. That's crazy. So people, you're telling me then that people think circumcision is gender affirming care. First of all, I don't think so. I don't think anybody looks at circumcision as gender affirming care. That is not like a little kid making a decision. They think of themselves differently. And so we're going to do something to back that up to make you feel better. It's like a medical procedure at this point for little kids. And there's some religious element to it, I imagine. I don't know. I don't know why people get circumcised. I know as someone who was born Jewish, it was a normal thing for little Jewish kids to get babies to get circumcised. I don't know how common that is in other people, but I think it was very common years ago to do that. It just makes it look bigger. Female circumcision is music, but I don't know where some of you guys came from. You must have stumbled in here from your leftist hug boxes, but we're trying to live in reality here, guys. And nobody in the real world says that circumcision.
There are actual activist groups against circumcision at birth, and although I understand their argument, they are generally laughed at by the public at large. Lol.
I can only imagine. Like, this is crazy. Like, come on, let's come back to reality and talk about circumcision as a normal thing here. Hello. I'm curious though, how common is circumcision? Let me see. What percentage of babies get circumcised in the US? Approximately 49.3 of male newborns are circumcised in US hospitals, according to data covering the period up to 2022. This rate marks a decline from 54.1% a decade prior. Let me look up one more thing. Why do parents get their children circumcised in 2026? Parents choose circumcise their newborn sons primarily for medical benefits, religious and cultural traditions. Easier hygiene. Yeah, I wonder what percentage is like recommended by pediatricians for health reasons versus cultural or religious. But again, I don't think any of this matters. The point is nobody looks at circumcision as mutilation, like, or gender affirming care. People just kind of like, oh, well, it is what it is.
You think it's okay for a parent to slash his kid's thing-a-ling off? You think that's okay?
I mean, do you really want to have this conversation? Are you circumcised?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a
Jesse,
personal question.
Okay,
doctor.
So you probably should want to move on. You probably should want to move on.
Is circumcision's different than castration?
I think it's a problem. It's a problem that you think that you get to decide what happens between a parent, a doctor, and a patient. And I'm just saying that, yes, circumcision is surgery on a kid's ding-a-ling. So if you really want to bring that up, you can. I just think
ding-a-ling.
You guys are really selective about how you want to talk about these things.
Abdul,
This is not a good argument, dude. What is he thinking? Who is advising this guy, man? God, what is happening? He needs to fire his entire campaign team and hire new people. This on top of the statement he put out today that pissed off everybody. Something's not working, man. This is just stupid. So does anyone out there think that it's a good answer to children getting gender affirming surgery to talk about circumcision Like, what? Who thought that would be good, man? My God.
Michigan's not going for that. That is sick stuff. Boys playing in girls' sports.
I'm not advocating anything. I'm just saying.
What about that?
So the question, so again, like, Jesse, you have not asked me one time about the issues that people actually care about in Michigan. You don't want to talk about gas prices. You don't want to talk about groceries. You don't want to talk about health care. You don't want to talk about this stupid trade war that's about to destroy Michigan's economy.
We spent the whole interview talking about that stuff.
That's destroying, that is destroying our own military.
At least we know Jesse is circumcised now.
True.
Don't seem to want to talk about any of those things. You want to bring up all this culture war that, you know, I'm not here to fight a culture war.
We talked about the war. We talked about gas prices and the Green New Deal, okay? If you want to do an interview,
I brought them up every time.
You can do the interview,
you're
okay?
Asking me, like, you're doing the greatest hits, Jesse. Like, I mean, this is, like, you could play this game if you want, but, like, you can keep doing the greatest hits if you want. You told me we were going to come on for a conversation, and when we have conversations, I think that it's okay to also ask questions. I just want to understand what you're getting at here.
I'm getting at whether you think
Michigan,
men should play in women's
sports. As the next U.S. senator in Michigan,
it's a big issue.
I'm interested in getting money out of politics, putting money in your pocket, and passing Medicare for all.
You're filibustering,
most people don't care about what sports kids play. And
you're filibustering.
I'm just
it's a big issue.
Because, like, I want
you
to
guys
talk about
kind of lost on that issue last time.
Deserve to hear about.
All right, so you want to answer that question.
And he voted for Obama.
Trans for everyone.
Hell yeah. Trans for everyone. Now you're talking.
What issue?
You won't answer the question.
What issue? Go ahead, Jesse. What issue?
Should men play women's sports? You have daughters, right?
I think that, look, I played sports my whole life. Sports were an important part of my life. I'm grateful for the opportunity to play sports. And at the end of the day, the decision of who gets to play what sports ought to be decided by the people who govern sports. I'm running for U.S. Senate. Jesse, it's insane. I'm out here trying to take on, like, the healthcare crisis in big pharma, and you're asking me about who gets to play what sports. It's silly. People can't take you seriously.
It's kind of a big thing if you've been.
This one, he's kind of there, right? This is what you do. You say what he said. I believe that the governing agencies controlling sports should decide, and we're a little bit in the Wild West here, but I go with them. Like, the NCAA decided to ban trans athletes. Out of 510,000 athletes, they had about 6 of them who were trans, and I support that. That's their decision. That's what I would say. I would just say something like that. That was a good answer. It was, but he didn't. He should have given an example like the NCAA to say, look, they ban trans athletes, and I accept that. And because I think everybody just wants it to be fair. And unfortunately, we're still kind of figuring it out, but I defer to the groups running it. But I do like that he said, I'm not running to be commissioner of the athletic association in whatever Michigan. I think it's the best answer, and it's a real answer, you know, like, yeah, like, it's about fairness. Nobody is asking for guys to be able to go play in women's sports so they could win all the prizes. It's about fairness. We just want kids to have fun. And if they decide that somebody shouldn't be playing because it's not fair to everyone else, that's perfectly legitimate. But don't exclude them just because of their characteristics. That's crazy.
And you're asking me about who gets to play what sports. It's silly. People can't take you seriously.
It's kind of a big thing if you've been following the news recently, Abdul. Let me ask you about the politics. We'll get to your race. Let's do your race right now.
Please be serious. Like, I'm here with you. I want to have a conversation about the issues that matter.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about the things that people are actually talking about.
Okay. I am. But let's keep going. Black people in Michigan.
Well, I know you guys are talking about that, but, like, most of the country's not.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Black people in Michigan voted for this white lady you ran against by like 8 points over you. What happened there?
Well, Jesse, I mean, you said it yourself, right? You got to give credit to Abdul. He ran against the machine. I got outspent 11-1. That 11-1 is going to do something at the end of the day. Now, my job is to go and earn every vote. And we've been having some great conversations in the community. We'll continue to do that. And I have a lot to talk about when it comes to my work taking care of communities. I rebuilt Detroit's health department, led Wayne County's Department of Health, Human and Veteran Services, got to work alongside so many folks in the community to give kids glasses, take on corporate polluters, eliminate medical debt. I'm looking forward to continuing to have those conversations, and I feel really good about being able to bring communities together and beat Mike Rogers, who you and I both agree is a beta and won't come on your show and won't debate me in November.
Yeah, maybe I'm nitpicking, but when I heard that answer, I heard black people were manipulated by money. That's not saying like giving them money, but that they were bombarded with ads and they got tricked or something. Maybe I'm being unfair, but that's how I read that answer. That's not. I don't like that. Like instead of saying, well, the black community has some concerns that I did not address fully, and I'm talking to all sorts of leaders in the black community now to get on the same page, and like what the fuck? As if he ran a perfect campaign and it was just some attack ads that tricked black people into not liking him. Like that's crazy, man. I would just say you're right. And I know that I've got to build a stronger coalition, and I've been out in the black community and happy to hear some concerns. Working on it.
And he voted for Obama.
Jesse Waters' voice can best be described as the vocal equivalent of a permanent shit-eating grin. How this guy has personal relationships I truly cannot fathom.
Yeah, who knows about his personal life, but he's built for Fox News primetime, right? Just attack, talk shit. He's perfect for this role. Thank you for the $10.
Didn't agree to that, but that's funny.
So he should capitulate to Fox News framing of the question. No, he should answer the question in a real way. What do you think? Do you think black people voted for Haley Stevens because of a bunch of money poured into ads in their community? Or do you think Haley Stevens appealed to them and addressed their concerns more than he did? This is a big problem for leftists for some reason. They cannot seem to understand that people who don't vote for you don't feel that you're representing what they want to see. So that's a you problem. That's not a them problem. And when you blame ad money, you're just taking away who they are. You're just like, oh, they got tricked. And if those ads didn't play, they would have voted for me, right? This is like standard leftists think that if only people could hear my message, they would support me because it's so based and awesome. Well, it turns out certain communities feel left out of your messaging and don't feel that you're addressing their concerns. Whereas Haley Stevens, she addressed their concerns and they voted for her. But if you want to take the racist and ignorant position of, well, they just got tricked, then I think that's pretty bad. And we got some idiots in my chat. I don't know where you guys came from, but I'm happy to remove you. This is not a debate space at all. This is I'm Really Important's channel, and I'm right about everything, and you're wrong. I couldn't care less about your dumb argument.
Reparations. Do you support that?
But you laughed at it. Because you didn't say you didn't agree. Like, Jesse, you're very good at telling me when you don't agree with me, but you actually laughed at that joke because you actually agree. Sorry.
Reparations. Do you support that?
You're filling in your own story? Well, I'm going to keep doing that. I don't need your input. I think I'm just fine. I think I get it just fine. You guys can cope all you want that he would have got all the black votes if only those bad ads didn't run, and if only those people were able to hear his message, then surely he would win all the black voters. But, this is the guy who said, I'm from Africa too, to win over black people. So what do you expect?
When you don't agree with me, but you actually laughed at that joke because you actually agree. Sorry.
Reparations. Do you support that?
Reparations.
I think we need to have an honest conversation about the incredible debt that was put upon black folks as a function of slavery that we have yet to pay. And I just think that's fair. Like if people are enslaved and forced into servitude, and then we don't actually have a conversation about all that was owed, that our own country agreed was owed, I just think that it's past time to have that conversation. That shouldn't be a crazy thing. I understand that, like, for folks who really want to inflame culture war, I just think it's important for us to think about how do we make sure that communities like the city of Detroit that have been segregated so that you have a disproportionate number of people as a function of redlining who are forced into certain communities, how do we make sure that their schools are made whole? I'll just tell you this, in the city of Detroit right now, they just had $700 million invested in their schools. They're still $1.7 billion behind. And a lot of folks want to say, oh, well, that's profligacy, et cetera, et cetera. No, a lot of that has to do with public policy.
Okay.
And if public policy created a level in which black folks disproportionately suffer everything from maternal mortality and infant mortality to lack of access to jobs,
yeah.
I think it's important for our country to have
a conversation
about how we make
it.
people whole.
You want
Ooh, I appreciate the answer, and I think he's right. But I don't think you're going to sell this to people like that. Like, we need to make people whole because they've been wronged. I don't think that wins people over. I think it's more about saying, look, the entire country's missing out because these communities are suffering due to being left behind due to some outdated policy. And we have an opportunity to invest in certain communities, and the return on investment is huge. And explain how. Let's put this amount of money into these communities. Do you know the ROI on that is XXX? Like, I don't think you win people over in 2026 by appealing to their heart. Don't you feel bad for these communities that are left behind? I don't think anyone cares. What happened? DGG fanboy with the 5 gifted kick subs. Hell yeah. Thank you, DGG fanboy. AES's campaign manager is Kristen Engel's manager. I don't know who that is. It's also a hard question to answer. It's also a ridiculous question. Reparations, Jesse? Really? Is this what you guys sit around and talk about at Fox News? Because I tell you what, I'm out there campaigning every day, and I haven't had a single goddamn person come up to me asking about reparations. Are you kidding me? I'm talking about investing in communities. If that's your definition of reparations, then sure. I'm seeing a bunch of communities that could use money and generate so much tax revenue that all of us are riding high. Like, I'm talking about that broken down house in your neighborhood that if somebody invested in it and fixed it up, everybody would benefit because it would make all the value of everyone's homes go up. I mean, what are we doing here, man? Thank you, DGG fanboy. What a name.
To have a conversation about it because we have you on the record as backing it, but now you just want to have a conversation. I got it.
Well, I couldn't tell you exactly what. Go ahead.
Reparations is so toxic too. You can't go anywhere near that. You cannot even begin to entertain reparations. It just turns into an argument of what the people who aren't getting something, right? Like, it's just so ridiculous of a debate. Who gets it? Who doesn't? I think reparations is more about investing in communities that have been left behind. Who cares if it's white, black, or whatever? Let's just look at certain communities and invest in them and turn them into business hubs that are popping off, and everyone will benefit. This goes back to my selfish politics idea. Like, nobody gives a shit about the guy next to them. You got to show people how investing in other people will make your life better. Otherwise, nobody gives a shit.
Schumer, you said you basically wanted his head on a stake when you were running in the primary. You still believe that?
Well, look, me and the senator have one goal right now. It is to win Michigan. So we're looking forward to doing that. And given the fact that Mike Rogers, who you agree is a beta, is my opponent, it probably shouldn't be very hard.
Okay.
Him calling Mike Rogers a beta is the best part of this interview. I'll give him that. Look, this isn't a total disaster, but there's some good moments, of course. El Sayed is he's a charismatic guy. He's funny, he's young, he's energetic, he's got some good policy, but I don't know why he takes the bait on so much of this dumb shit. But that's when he's doing his best, is when he's punching, not when he's trying to explain gender-affirming care surgery for children. That's when you're losing, man.
I respect the fact that you
still
came
haven't
on.
opposed me, Mike. Bro, talk to your guy.
I respect the fact that you came on. I don't think you've really looked into some of the policies you're pushing. You seem a little naive, Abdul. I give you credit for facing the music, but some of the stuff's just straight up wacky. I don't know if that's going to fly
Jesse,
in
look,
Michigan, but we're going to find out.
You know what's wacky?
We're going to find out.
We're going to find out. And you know what's wacky?
Yeah.
You know what's wacky, though?
Yeah.
Can I just tell you? You know you didn't ask me about?
What?
We got a president of the United States who cares more about the drapes in a ballroom that shouldn't be built than he cares about the war he just got us into, or that he cares about the affordability crisis. That seems to me to be a little bit wacky. So if we want to have a serious conversation about what Michiganders are feeling, I'd love to come back on and talk about getting money out of politics, put money in your pocket, passing Medicare for all.
Okay, we'll do it again.
I'm telling you, none of that is wacky, and that's what Michiganders want.
We'll do it again,
I look forward
Abdul.
to it, Jesse. It was a good conversation.
All right, thank you so much. Good luck in Michigan.
See, at least I don't dodge you.
No. Yeah.
Thank you.
Like 25%. Have a good night. Be sure to like and subscribe.
At least I don't dodge you, he says. Okay. Well, what do you guys think? Did Abdul knock it out the park? I'm sure his fans will say he did an amazing job. He did so well. He killed it. He hit a home run. The Batrix, thank you for the re-upping your membership on YouTube. Appreciate that. Is AES cooked? I don't think so. I think he's making it harder for himself, though. I think it's his race to lose. He's just giving the GOP an opening for no reason. And he didn't even get into the Hassan Piker stuff in this interview, which is his toughest topic. That is crazy. This was about trans kids and reparations and a bunch of bullshit, and it was rough. He didn't even get into his toughest topic. Damn. Now, let me show you how someone handles culture war questions in a good way. I have to see my own channel for a second, though, to find the interview. Back when I was making videos for a minute, I put up a video about Tallarico, just flipping the script. Here we go. James Tallarico. Yeah, I just want to see where the interview was. Was it CBS? Yeah, I think this is CBS. So, what's the date on that, too? June 4th. Yeah.
State Representative Tallarico, thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
Why are Republicans so worried about this race?
Well, I think they're worried about the movement that we're building here in Texas. You know, I've gone to every corner of this state over the course of this campaign, from Beaumont to El Paso, from Amarillo to Brownsville, and everywhere in between. And we have had tens of thousands of Texans showing up to rally with us. And I can't tell you the number of people who come up to me at the end of these events and whisper, I'm not a Democrat, like they're in the witness protection program. I think we're reaching people who don't normally vote for Democratic candidates. We're also reaching a lot of first-time voters. The number.
This is in Fox, though. You're right, but he asks him the tough questions. So let me skip ahead here. He does ask the tough questions.
And they're worried we're going to win Texas in November.
But no Democrat has won a Senate seat from Texas since before you were born.
That's right.
What is it about you that's different?
Hold on. I just want to find the parts. He asked him about this culture war and bad things he said in
We
the
can
past.
take power back for our communities.
They're going to be able to play drinking games during your speeches and your interviews on how many times you use the word corruption.
Yeah.
But it does sound like a key word and a key argument you're making here.
Well, I think it's the central problem in our country right now. I think we're living in an era of corruption. And I don't just mean illegal activity, although we're certainly.
Hold on.
And it's also why the Republicans are on the attack. This morning, the president calls you maybe the worst Texas candidate he's ever seen. And Ken Paxton, your opponent, has taken to calling you Tallafrico.
Well, I think if Ken Paxton is worried about freaks, he should stop giving Epstein-style sweetheart deals to pedophiles. You know, this is the guy who just released Adam Hoffman from jail and admitted child rapist after one of Ken Paxton's wealthy lawyer friends got involved in the case. Ken Paxton even kept him off the sex offender registry. Adam Hoffman was supposed to serve 25 years to life, but instead he served less than a month. As of this week, he's now back on our streets because of Ken Paxton's corruption. Ken Paxton is the most corrupt politician in America, and it is costing Texans. It's endangering our children, and it must end. I think.
So imagine Tallarico goes on Fox and they're like, you're a vegan and you said some weird stuff. He's like, what's weird is Ken Paxton getting a guy out of prison 30 days into his 25-year sentence for abusing children. His name's Adam Hoffman. That's a freak to me. I mean, that's what I'm saying, like little stuff like that.
The Epstein class has no place in Texas. And this November, we're going to come together to defeat Ken Paxton and take back our state for the people.
So they're running a handful of highlights of things you've said in the past, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to respond or clarify. In 2021, in a speech during debate over transgender issues, you said God is non-binary. What did you mean by that?
Well, I think I was being intentionally provocative with that statement. But what it means is that God can't be defined by human categories. The Apostle Paul, in his letter to the Galatians, says that in Christ there is neither male nor female. I'm always going to stand up for Texans who are being picked on by the most powerful, most corrupt politicians in the country. And I'm going to continue doing that in this race and hopefully in the U.S. Senate.
So just a brilliant response to saying God is non-binary. Admit it was cringy. I was being provocative, right? So now you've instantly defanged the attack, admitting, yeah, I probably would have said it differently now, but let me show you how I'm an expert on the Bible and Christianity by referencing a certain book and quoting it and showing you I know a lot about this God guy and this religion, and God can't be defined by that. That's what I meant. I mean, this is how you just demolish these talking about. That's why nobody asks him about this shit anymore, because what's the point?
Call it intentionally provocative. Do you regret describing it that way or talking about God that way?
There are some statements that I've made that I certainly regret. There are statements that I've made where I've missed the mark. I'll be the first to admit that. But Ken Paxton is intentionally
Tallarico answered this question with, so, are you circumcised?
Clipping my cringy comments to distract from his career of corruption.
So look at that, taking it head on. Look, Ken Paxton's using my cringy comments to distract from his corruption. So, but when you're an egomaniac and you can't admit that you said some cringy stuff and that you probably would say it differently now, then you can't go this route. You have to just like deflect and fight tooth and nail. Statement I made that I regret is something Syed would never have the capacity to say. That's what I'm saying. The difference between the two of them is stark. You can see what somebody with an ego versus somebody who doesn't give a shit and can handle some criticism looks like,
Ken Paxton has a criminal record. I have a legislative record. I've served for 4 terms in the Texas House of Representatives, where I brought Democrats and independents together to actually make progress for people. I've brought Republican legislators and Democratic legislators together to cut property taxes, to raise teacher pay, to lower the cost of housing and childcare and prescription drugs. I've passed more than 60 bipartisan bills as a legislator. I've also called out the extremes in both parties, on the left and the right. I have called out Ken Paxton for his blatant corruption, but I also called out President Biden for failing to secure our southern border. So,
and I want to get to the border in a second. Let me run one more by you, because again,
let's do one more.
The president, other Republicans are already bringing it up. Again in 2021, though.
So this was right after he won the nomination. He goes out there and gets confronted with all his greatest hits and just demolishes them one by one, because he clearly thought about it and put work into it and came up with some good responses. He didn't try to like just power his way through it.
Let me run one more by you, because again, the president, other Republicans are already bringing it up. Again in 2021, though, while debating a bill that restricted transgender student athletes, you said modern science acknowledges 6 biological variations based on chromosomes to argue that sex is a nuanced spectrum, not a strict binary. Do you still believe there are 6 biological sexes?
I know there are 2 sexes, men and women. I also know there's a very small percentage of people who have these chromosomal abnormalities, and I believe they deserve to be treated with dignity and respect.
The other one they keep harping on, and it's perhaps the most...
Super easy, man. Dude, there's two sexes, okay? Male and female. But there's a small group of people who things have gone differently. And I think those people deserve respect, man. That's it.
Curious of all, they say you're a vegan.
I'm not a vegan. I'm an 8th generation Texan. I've been eating barbecue since before Ken Paxton's first indictment. And this campaign basically runs on Texas barbecue. If all they have is lying about me being a vegan, I feel pretty good about our chances this November.
But, you know, and this is part of where I think we are in politics in this country. Whether you agree or disagree with their focus on those statements on that issue of transgender rights and things like whether you're a vegan, it is an effective argument that Republicans have made against candidates for years. It works for them. And you're going to have to spend time and money explaining it away.
I think the reason that we are leading in every public and private poll against Ken Paxton is because Texans are hungry for a different kind of politics.
All right, now you guys said this isn't fair because it's not Fox, and somebody said that he did do an interview on Fox with Will Cain. So let's see. I never watched that. Uh, 5 months ago, a year ago. I thought it was pretty recent. Oh, here we go. Wait. Dems deliberate edits. Fox News host Will Cain sets the record straight. I guess that was after his interview. 5 years ago. I don't know if somebody has a link to it. Let me know. It's always a little hard to find something that happened a minute ago. 4 months ago. Terrible upload. Tallarico's super fan.
But when you're winning in Illinois, you're happy to play by these rules.
Again, I've condemned all gerrymandering across the country. And in fact, when Democrats had a majority in Congress, they voted to ban gerrymandering in every state, red states and blue states. Do you know how many Republican members of Congress joined them in that effort?
Which one? I'm sorry. Which state did you just refer to?
I'm asking, do you know how many Republicans joined Democrats in the U.S. Congress to ban gerrymandering? All the Democrats voted for it. 0 Republicans voted for it.
Ooh.
0.
It's an odd.
So
it's an odd.
You can spare me the both sides rhetoric. It's clearly one side that is trying to rig the rules in the middle of the game. This is like 2 football teams coming out of the locker room at halftime, and the team that's ahead says they want to change the rules for the second half so they can win the game. All of us would be throwing food at the TV if that happened. We don't accept cheating in our politics. We don't accept cheating in our relationships. We shouldn't accept cheating in our elections.
Let me see if he's been on Fox News since his campaign started. Wait, here's 7 months ago. James Tallarico condemns.
But when you're winning in Illinois, you're happy to play by these rules.
Again,
such as the
governor politics. One side that is trying to rig the rules in the middle of
the same thing as us, and we are going to, by the way, if you do it, we're going to ratchet it up even more, in the words of Gavin Newsom.
My party has never gerrymandered in the middle of the decade at the request of the President of the United States, nor would we. The only way this is going to happen in blue states is if Texas executes this power grab. You mentioned Massachusetts. Do you know the party of the governor that signed that map into law? He was a Republican. It was a Republican governor that signed that map into law. So I just want to be.
That is a nasty talking point. You do hear a lot of Republicans say, oh, back when we were having the debate over California gerrymandering, they would be like, you know, Massachusetts is 18-0 or something. There's no Republicans in Massachusetts. Like, yeah, you mean the state a Republican governor signed those maps? God damn. How many seats are there in Massachusetts? It's 9. What am I thinking of? Is it? You hear that again? That was nasty.
nor would we. The only way this is going to happen in blue states is if Texas executes this power grab. You mentioned Massachusetts. Right. Do you know the party of the governor that signed that map into law? He was a Republican. It was a Republican governor that signed that map into law. So I just want to be clear with our facts, and I don't want to muddy the waters. All of us, whether we're Democrats, independents, or Republicans, we should stand up to politicians who don't want to face accountability at the ballot box. That's exactly what's happening here. And I asked you, if Republican policies are popular, why do they need to redraw these maps? Why can't they just run on their policies?
I'm getting wrapped on time. I'm enjoying this conversation. I want to let it go on, and I apologize. That's such is the nature of cable television.
Had to go. Got to go.
When you look at this side by side.
Wow. I'm getting wrapped for time after you completely annihilated me on the Massachusetts talking point. So this has been fun. But we got to go. Just seeing if he has any other Fox News interviews. Doesn't look like he's been invited back.
I wouldn't be surprised if Fox doesn't request he comes on.
Right?
Paxton is so down bad in fundraising and he's literally not even campaigning at all.
I don't know what Paxton is doing, but he's in a lot of trouble right now. Funder of Transtipa, thank you for the $5 super chat. Ken Paxton is, he's doing something, man. 2 weeks ago, that Tallarico interview with Will Cain is from August 2025. Last time he was on Fox News. Wow. That's crazy. Wait, what happened in this video?
You have made a lot of money personally, and you've enriched a lot of corporations with advertising by getting on here and spewing lies and conspiracy theories to folks who trust you. And so what I'm asking you to do is to tell your voters right now that Donald Trump lost the election in 2020.
At least you resolved the lie that is Democrats are now for voter ID. It's not your show, sir, but at least you resolved the idea that Democrats are not for voter ID.
Did Donald Trump lose the election in 2020?
Real quick.
Can you answer the question? Did Donald Trump lose the election in 2020?
I'm answering questions. Don't really feel any obligation to answer anything
an uncomfortable question for you?
No.
Uncomfortable.
And another topic on politics, far-left streamer Hassan Piker kicking up a hornet's nest of outrage after leading a crowd and singing a song mocking Charlie Kirk over the weekend. Here's how it went.
Wow. He's so funny, guys. He's so clever. I never seen the Tallarico clip. That was a good one. A little pitchy. Not great. Just want to see if anybody did an video about what happened with Hassan today.
Yeah, they're probably too scared to bring Tallarico back on. Even Jesse got mad at Paxton on air. They will just do the rounds with Abdul over and over.
We'll see. I don't know if Abdul El-Sayed will go back. I mean, that was not a great appearance. He had a few moments calling Mike Rogers a beta. That's good. Saying he's dodging, but didn't seem that prepared for the obvious culture war questions, you know? Like, those were going to be asked. All Trump over here. Do a search.
Paxton has resorted to call-in town halls and letting other GOP members campaign for him. I hope you and the boys start focusing on this race since the others are melting into slop.
I don't think Tallarico needs anybody's help. He's doing great, you know? Tallarico's in a lot of trouble. Or not Tallarico. Ken Paxton's in a lot of trouble. I was curious to see Hassan's reaction to all the outrage about him this morning. These guys upload very quickly, so I wouldn't be surprised if they have something already. 4 hours ago. That's too broad. Hassan reactions fan 2. Wow. I bet you there's a bunch of AI running those channels, man. Hassan slop. Well, I'm fascinated to see how he reacted to what went down today. Don't know how I can find that though. Could just go to his channel. Oh, there we go.
I know, guys. I'm aware of it. But in this community have made us perhaps the perfect community to withstand this barrage of heinous smears.
Don't worry. Hold on.
Our state governor race is a very entertaining one. Gina versus Hot Wheels is showing the GOP desperation. Abbott recently had an interview that is pure content.
Nice. Yeah, they moved that to lean Republican, I believe. Oof, I'm leaving this, says Moo Voodoo. I don't give a damn about Hassan as much as I don't about Trump. Why do you talk about people you don't like? Well, listen, I'll do you a favor. You never have to see it again. So I'm sorry this bothered you so much. So I'm going to do you a favor and remove you so you never have to watch again. Following since 2021. I'm sorry that you've been in so much pain sitting here for 5 years, and I will help you leave this community and go find your tribe. Good luck. What an idiot, man. Like, I don't care if you don't. There's plenty of times streamers watch stuff that I don't enjoy, and I just leave and come back another day. Just, you know. If whenever someone does that and slams the door, I just feel that they are struggling with some mental health issues, and I don't have time to heal them, nor am I a licensed professional. So if you can't press the X and move on your own, I'll do it for you. I'll just remove you so you never have to be bothered again. I'm sorry that happened to you.
This was never going to be easy. It was never going to be a cakewalk.
Did Hassan finally upgrade his camera? And now I don't recall him ever doing full screen like this with a nicer camera. So I guess he finally upgraded his equipment.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. He's depressed. What it is.
I don't know what else to say.
These are tough times around the Hassan Abi network.
He keeps saying crazy stuff, then catching Dem Congress disavows like Pokemon cards, and complaining about it. I'll never understand him.
It's Hassan against the world, man. It's like, you know, there's an old saying that if one person is rude to you, they're probably an asshole. But if you think everybody's an asshole, you're probably the asshole.
I was a Trump guy and you saved me from the alt-right pipeline 8 years ago. Thank you, Hassan. Yep. These smears are light work compared to the post-October 7th smears, man. Don't sweat it. It doesn't matter. It's becoming more sophisticated.
Oh, no. Horseshoe in action. Yeah.
It's getting more sophisticated than that. Look, our enemies are never going to be... What? The fact that you never sued before has led to Scott Jennings playing that tape of lies? He might go down for it? That'd be sick? Yeah. Look, man.
Dude, okay, man? He doesn't seem very happy here. You know, this is supposed to be fun, guys. He's supposed to be enjoying life. Here's a man with all the money in the world and fame and power and just everything you could ask for. And he seems goddamn miserable every time I tune into his stream.
All I'm saying is I will make a promise to you that I will be unbowed and I will always say the truth. I will always tell you what I think.
Wow.
I will always say the truth.
Brave.
I will always seek truths from
For
facts.
someone who loves to work out, those shoulder
Okay.
pads give him a shrunken head.
Self-induced.
That's it. Paul Blessed had an interesting take on this as well, because Trey Easton came out. I want Abdul to win desperately, but the most predictable thing in the world was Piker would inevitably become a serious liability in the general election. If you care about Abdul's campaign succeeding, you should want him to distance himself from Piker clearly and directly.
You know someone takes criticism
It
well
sucks
when
because,
they get featured in right-wing media, they threaten litigation.
People are still carrying out their, I actually want you to win. And here's how you can win, from people who have stood in opposition to his victory and are still not so subtly doing it.
No, the truth is we all want Abdul El Sayed to win. We are rooting for him. We want him to win. We do not want a Republican in that seat. And it pains us to watch him tank his campaign and fail. It's heartbreaking.
But Paul Bless had a good take on this. I don't know how many more times we're going to have to do some version of Tony Hinchcliffe just swung the Latino vote against Donald Trump before DC people get it through their heads that the median voter has no idea what you're talking about. I mean, this is worse than the Tony Hinchcliffe thing, though.
Like, Hassan should be begging Abdul El Sayed to attack him and throw him under the bus and do whatever you have to do, because I believe in your cause. I believe in you. And I would sacrifice myself in a second to make sure we get over the finish line. But now it's just all about him. He's just depresso mode. Does he react to the actual statement coming out? Let me see here. Oh yeah, here we go.
Okay. But the big problem is this wouldn't have been that big of an ordeal, I think, ultimately. But clearly, and I can't speak on this with any sort of like personal, any sort of firsthand account or anything. But I reacted to it. I said, if I was an Israel First congresswoman with a possible cheating scandal with a Republican in the state, I wouldn't spend so much time vying for the spotlight by actively defaming a prominent anti-Zionist voice to harm the Dem Senate majority chances over a 90-10 issue. So then Abdul came out, or Abdul's team rather, came out with a statement.
That's interesting. Why even say that? Like, here's an opportunity for you to back up Abdul in distancing himself from you and say, Abdul came out with a good statement showing everybody that he's in charge, that I don't speak for him. Instead, instantly he says Abdul's team came out with a statement, as if Abdul didn't want to do this or something, or doesn't want to take full responsibility for it. It's just his team. That seems like you're trying to avoid, like you're trying to absolve him of this statement. His team. Yeah, like, why would you say that?
And in the statement, the actual meat of the statement, he did the same thing that he's always done, which is, no one speaks for me. Why are we talking about, she responded again, Oh. Democratic Congresswoman Hillary Scholten amplifies Hassan Piker, calling her an Israel first Congresswoman with possible cheating scandal with a Republican, and does not deny the claim. Yeah, she says, not Hassan Piker daydreaming about being me, as if, keep dreaming, pal. There's only one of us hurting the chance of a Democratic majority in November, and it ain't me. So Abdul released a neutral statement. The only issue I have with the neutral statement is that it legitimizes, well, I have a couple issues with it, right? He's trying to do the same thing that he's done over and over again, even though these attacks, they're not going to let up, which is my statements are my own. Hassan's statements are his own.
Hold on. What is this scrolling? Is like, did he search for him? Oh, this is his own feed.
Over and over again, even though these attacks, they're not going to let up, which is my statements are my own. Hassan's statements are his own. Stop tying us to one another like this. It's ridiculous. It's a distraction, right?
Okay.
So that's what he said. In my opinion, I think it would be best not to say anything, right?
Oh, boy. Even Hassan is unhappy. Everybody, I'm telling you, when I say Abdul al-Sayed is making mistakes with his campaign, this is Exhibit A. There's nobody happy with this statement. Even Hassan can't even bring himself to say this was a good move, that this was smart. Who is running this campaign, man? This is a disaster. This just can't happen. You can't put out a statement that upsets everybody. Even his biggest fan can't bring himself to defend this.
It would be best not to say anything at all, but obviously there's probably a lot of people in Michigan politics that are, saying like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? This is ridiculous. You got to say something. The only issue I have with this is not this statement in and of itself, because it's exactly what he said over and over again, but it was this. Tying it back to Hassan Piker's comments regarding Jeremy Moss. Okay?
What?
This legitimizes the smear, unfortunately.
The caption on the post is, my statement on Hassan Piker's comments regarding Jeremy Moss. I don't know what Hassan was saying about Jeremy Moss, but he's the guy running to replace Haley Stevens in the House. He's Jewish. I'm sure it had something to do with that.
By the way, Hillary Scholten flipped 20-year Republican seat for her district in 2022 and she sets turnout records. She's a pure winner. W. Scholten.
W. Yeah, I don't know much about her. I do know about her supposed affair with John James, Republican from Michigan, but I haven't seen anyone talking about it since, so I don't know if it's true. For someone saying he's always taken out of context, he's really mad for Syed mentioning the context here. Talked about how Jews can get attacked for being Jews in America. Is that what Moss was talking about? I know the clip that led to this statement is Hassan saying that Jews are bringing it on themselves by making Israel their singular issue, which is, I think, ridiculous. I don't know why he thought he should say that. Jews are not making Israel their singular issue in America, which is outrageous. And telling someone they're bringing anti-Semitism upon themselves and it's dangerous is just as silly. It's the old telling a woman not to wear a short skirt or she gets what she deserves, right? I mean, how does anyone see what he said any differently? And that's why he was condemned so forcefully by so many people. Moss' face was on the screen when Hassan was saying that. I know that, but I'm curious what Hassan was talking about before he went on that monologue. It must have had something to do with Moss.
And it also doesn't make anybody happy, right? There are going to be a lot of people who are already questioning Abdul al-Sayed's sincerity on these issues that will then turn around and say, he's moderating his position on Israel, all this stuff. I don't think he is. Okay. I will say this. I am literally the person that is being dangled And I'm going to tell you once again, he's not moderating on his perspective on Israel or anything like that. Okay?
I don't think he has to, but he needs to do more for Jewish people because there is valid concern that his language is contributing to anti-Semitism. Like a lot of people, Hassan is included in that category too, in that this anti-Zionism rhetoric is having blowback on Jews. Like it's tough to point to anything else. And so there needs to be more in the opposite direction for Jews. And it's not just like this statement says, I care about Jewish people like my daughters. That's not cutting it, Chief. That's not working, man. Because if your daughters came to you saying this, they were concerned, you'd be doing a lot more than putting out a statement. Holy shit, Taco Cat with the 25 gifted kick subs. My man. Let's go, Taco Cat. Hell yeah. That's crazy. AS just said he speaks for himself. Now Hassan is out there talking for him and his views. Yeah, Hassan is telling us how he hasn't changed his view on Israel at all. Like, okay. I'm not asking for Abdul El-Sayed and his supporters to change their view on Israel. You can think Israel is a monster. I would prefer they talk about it as the Israeli government and not Israel. Imagine talking about America like that and not the American government. That's my problem. I think that would help clean up things a lot if they would stop talking about Israel and Zionism and focus on this horrible government running Israel. And that would take some of the heat off of Jews. But the problem is nobody cares that anti-Semitism is on the rise here in America. They just put lip service to this BS like, I care so much. Well, then do something, man. What can I do? Israel's being bad. And it is what it is. All I can say is I love Jewish people. I love them. I love Jewish people. I care about them. But you're not solving the problem, dude. Anti-Semitism is up, and attacks in the name of anti-Semitism are on the rise. And it's like, what can I do? I keep telling them I love Jews. I love you, Jewish people. Let me add this here. Hell yeah.
And the problem is, nobody's going to be happy with this. Anti-Zionists will not be happy with this because they will see this as a betrayal. They will see this as Abdul El-Sayed, taking advantage of the popularity of the pro-Palestinian cause, and then in the general turning around and betraying the pro-Palestinian cause. That's not the case. Okay, that's not the case. I don't think that is the case. But also, the overwhelming majority of people who fomented this crisis, this manufactured outrage, they did it for this reason. Because none of them are going to turn around and say, wow, Abdul, it seems that you have distanced yourself from Hassan Piker. It seems you have disavowed his comments. We now believe that you are actually going to, now think that you're not an Islamic style taqiyya merchant who is doing jihad. It doesn't matter. And here's proof. Dems for Mike Rogers immediately goes, another fake condemnation from Dr. Abdul El-Sayed. Notice he never actually condemns Hassan Piker's calls to violence against Jeremy Moss. Abdul continues to avoid condemning Hassan Piker's calls for violence against Jewish Americans. Is shameful. Abdul is too extreme for Michigan. So it's unfortunate that
this Democrats for Mike Rogers is completely AstroTurf nonsense. Are there a handful of people out there that are Democrats for Mike Rogers because of concerns of anti-Semitism? Sure. But this is like totally 98% AstroTurf bullshit. And sadly, it's working. It's a Republican op. Absolutely a Republican op. This is like half of Mike Rogers' campaign right here. This is what they're working on. Democrats for Mike Rogers.
But it's one of those situations where conceding to the oppositional framing in any way, shape, or form is, of course, going to cause them to double down and say, oh, well, why did you even hang out with this guy to begin with? As I said, as I predicted ahead of time. Okay. And then they're also going to they're also going to then turn around. Yeah, there are Krasenstein brothers everywhere for eyes to see. They're also going to turn around and say, this is bullshit. This is not a good enough condemnation. And then they're going to demand further and further condemnations. Okay?
Yeah, this was a disaster by El Sayed. This accomplished nothing. It wasn't good enough for the people who were mad about what Hassan did. It disappointed all of Abdul Sayed, El Sayed's supporters. It got Hakeem Jeffries to put out a statement. I mean, just everybody piled on. Like, Abdul won nobody over with this. He should fire his entire campaign staff after this moment right here. And then going on Fox News and saying, I'm not trying to push my Sharia law on you guys, or whatever he said when confronted about Sharia law, saying, I'm not trying to push my religion on anyone else. It's like, bro, you need to condemn Sharia law if you're going to win a statewide race in America, even if it's so racist that someone would even accuse you of that. And it's not fair, and it's bigoted, and it's just ridiculous. Them's the breaks, man. This is sadly the weight you carry trying to be the first of something in America. And he's trying to be the first U.S. Muslim senator. And that's unfair. It's not right. But the Republicans are leaning into fear-mongering, and he needs to prove that he's a goddamn patriot every single day, sadly. If he predicted this, you would think he'd be on his best behavior to not be taken out of context. Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing is, like, Hassan is not helping Abdul, right? And I think that's why he is feeling down in the dumps, because Hassan is hurting Abdul El Sayed every day with his bullshit. Hassan, the best gift Hassan could give Abdul El Sayed is to go offline for the next 70 days and not talk on Twitter. Don't just disconnect, go on a vacation for 2 months and stop talking. The fact that he has to respond to new stuff you're doing is crazy. It's one thing to be held to be asked about stuff Hassan said 7 years ago that he can claim it was out of context. He apologized, whatever bullshit excuse. This is within the last 48 hours, man. And you're contributing to making his life worse, Hassan. And there's just no accountability. There's no reflection. There's just no acceptance that I'm not helping. That is wild to me, man. You can be mad at everyone else's reaction to it, but you can't control that. But what you can control is you opening your mouth and doing this in the first place. Because if Hassan didn't run his mouth, then none of this would be happening. So you can cry a river about it's not fair. These people are misunderstanding. They are taking it out of context on purpose. They're lying. They wouldn't be able to do any of that if you just shut your trap and stopped making life worse for Abdul.
But this is a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation that he's found himself in. AIPAC is gloating over the Abdul statement. Yep, see, here you go. He knows this as well.
I would be horrified if I cared about somebody's campaign and I caused them problems. I would be embarrassed. I would be mortified. I would log off, man.
He understandably does not want to have a conversation about
out of context doesn't work off Twitch.
Right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't help.
It's the Simpson Skinner meme. Am I the problem? No, it's that them not defending me is the problem.
Right. It's crazy, man. He shares no responsibility in what happened today. None. In his eyes. He did nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing. Perfect little prince.
About whatever new media concocted manufactured crisis is. Like,
I'm surprised there aren't people mad at Hassan for this. Like from his side, right? People are mad at El Sayed for putting out the statement and capitulating or whatever. But why are they not mad at the guy who caused him to put this statement out, right? Like Hassan caused such a problem, and you could say it's not fair, he didn't do anything wrong, but whatever it is, he caused it, and none of them are mad at him. They just excuse it, like this guy in my chat. I don't know if they're serious or not. He's a Twitch streamer, right? They just dismiss it as he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything. He's just a streamer, man. He just did his streamer thing, you know?
Outrage campaign is. He doesn't want to talk about that. He wants to talk about what he's going to do for Michigan, right?
Yes.
That's the goal.
That's how he wins. If this race is about Trump and the Republicans and Michigan and affordability, El Sayed wins. If it's about Hassan and anti-Semitism, he loses. It's over. So he's got to somehow shift the focus to being about Trump and the economy and a referendum on the Trump administration. Hassan's not helping.
The goal of those who are in opposition to Abdul's victory, his imminent victory in November, are going to do everything in their power to continue the conversation around this. Who better than Etan to interview Hassan Piker? Get your popcorn. What is this?
Dude, how does he even find this stuff? Did you see the engagement on this post? 844 views, 1 retweet, 1 bookmark, not even any likes. How does he even find this stuff, dude? 840 views. How did he find this? Hold on.
His imminent victory in November, are going to do everything in their power to continue the conversation around this.
Oh, somebody in his chat, I guess, gave it
Who
to
better
him?
than Etan to interview Hassan Piker? Get your popcorn. What is this? Yeah, I don't want any harm committed against random citizens, whether they be Jewish or Muslim. Left-wing streamer Hassan the Hun sits down with Haaretz's Etan.
Jewish or Muslim. Brilliant, dude.
So here's the problem, okay?
You're facing a giant anti-Semitism problem, and you're like, both sides it. Why not go in there and just talk about Jewish people, man? What the hell?
You don't want to have this conversation over and over again, so you have to say something.
Yeah, all lives matter bullshit.
But if you say something, they'll use it against you. If you say anything, they're going to say, fuck you. You knew this guy was bad news, and you leaned into it anyway. And if he were to just simply say the truth and be like, this is manufactured outrage, you guys are being ridiculous, which is the case, right? This is a dude who is a committed anti-Zionist who fights against all forms of bigotry, myself included. We do the same thing. Then they're going to be like, well, what about this quote? What about that quote? And you can't expect someone who has a short period of time in a contentious media environment to know the context of every single thing that I say, and he can't constantly fucking be in a defensive posture. I described this to you from the start, which is why I said that his reaction to this was very good. His reaction to this has always been very good, which is, look, I deal with people that I don't fully agree with and don't fully subscribe to on a daily basis. This is politics. Politics is about addition, not subtraction, right? It's smart. It's the right way to deal with it, and then deflect back to the issues because they are the ones who are engaging in the deflection. Okay? It's not even a deflection to be like, why are we talking about this? Let's talk about the cost of living crisis, right?
Yes, and you caused the distraction from that, Hassan, with your anti-Semitic screed this weekend, man. What do you mean? You're the problem, bro. How do you not see that? That is wild to me. This is all because he decided to give this little monologue.
Okay, seriously though, there's a fear that you could get taken out, but what if it happens and they'll stage it to look like a suicide? They could clip you saying, I'm going to kill myself. Can you, for the record, publicly announce that you'll never do that? Yeah, copied this from another chatter. Yes, guys, I am not suicidal. Okay, are you fucking insane? I don't have any like workout equipment in my house. I don't have a gun in my house. I'm not suicidal. Stop being fucking weird.
Wait. How do you kill yourself with workout equipment? Do you like drop a 45-pound weight on your head? What? That was the weirdest thing I've heard. Huh?
Taken out, but what if it happens and they'll stage it to look like a suicide? They could clip you saying, I'm going to kill myself. Can you, for the record, publicly announce that you'll never do that? Yeah, copied this from another chatter. Yes, guys.
Why did his mind even go there? I don't have any weightlifting equipment in my house. Somebody died on a bench?
I am not suicidal. Okay, are you fucking insane? I don't have any like workout equipment in my house. I don't have a gun in my house. I'm not.
That's how Chris Benoit, who the hell is that? Killed himself? I don't even know who that is. What do you mean? How do you kill yourself with free weights? Just drop a big weight on your head or something?
Suicidal. Stop being fucking weird.
Someone related to the Clintons.
Piker is a bitch.
New one to me. Piker's a bitch. He read that one out loud. Dude, this seems like a miserable existence. Every time I watch him, it's so funny. He just read a comment. Piker's a bitch. Why would he read that?
Piker is a bitch.
Damn, bro. Janer949 brought it up on his screen. Hiker's a bitch. Trying to get his losers to brigade them without saying so? Probably.
Can you go longer than 10 seconds without lying? I mean, you've been in here for, I assume, 10 seconds. What have I lied about? That I'm not suicidal? Is that what you're saying? And if Jews... Anyway, let's continue with this clip while I go pee. Putting this idea...
He just plays his bad clip for everyone to listen to. Puts it on full screen. Oh my God. He's watching himself.
Anti-Semitic at all. He's saying that if American Jews tie their identity to Israel and their...
The soy pill? Oh no! Oh no! Soy pill, why? No shot. No shot.
Or barbaric. That's the way they... Yeah. Also, of course, whenever people actually come out and say, I don't see this as anti-Semitic at all, he's saying that if American Jews tie their identity to Israel and their actions, people are going to take their grievances with Israel's horrific actions out on American Jews. And he's saying...
Soy pill, but he was saying that Jews are doing that. He was like, that's the outrageous part. Like, what? He generalized about Jews. Oh, man. Come on. And this, what is this last sentence in Soy Pill's tweet? The same way Muslims got blamed for 9/11, except they didn't even tie themselves to Al-Qaeda. Huh? Dude, I don't know any Jews that are tying themselves to Israel. It's a thing they care about. But it, like, he said they're singularly focused or whatever on Israel. Like, and it just feeds into this tropes. Like, Jews are not loyal to America, which is a common thing people say all the time. That's crazy, bro. Come on. Do better, man. He literally thrust responsibility for good or worse on American Jews to get ahead of this shit or face consequences. Well, he just like made up a straw man that Jews in America are making this their singular focus. And what do they expect is going to happen? You know, it's like, what the fuck, dude? First of all, I don't see Jews sitting around thinking about Israel like this. I mean, they're Americans first, man. And there's something they care about. Why wouldn't they? Jewish people care about the state of Israel. That doesn't mean they support it doing shitty things. What the fuck? I don't even know, man. Hassan, dual citizen, attacking people's loyalty. Yeah. Oh, he has a problem with being a little blind on the left. Well, I wouldn't have had a problem. Well, I don't know. Hassan's statement that got him in trouble was generalizing about Jews. He didn't say some Jews. He didn't say there are some extremists out there. He said Jews. He was just like, Jews in America or whatever are singularly focused on Israel. And what do they expect since America's not fucking with Israel anymore? What do they think's going to happen? They're bringing this on themselves. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Can people not be in support of the state of Israel? I thought this was America, man. It's like being in support of any country around the world. Like, it's the people, you know, it's the idea. It's the good things that the country stands for. It's crazy. It'd be like saying you can't support America because of Trump and Republicans. Who are the ones the Jews should be fearful of? Which side of the political aisle is that? Both sides at this point. Jews are pretty screwed, man. My prescription is we need more pro-Jew stuff to combat the anti-Semitism. We need to see people going to synagogue. We need to see El Sayed hanging out with Jewish people. We need to see El Sayed not experiencing, but seeing what the Jewish people are talking about and taking it seriously. Not saying I care about Jewish people like my daughters. We need to see it. The words aren't doing shit. We need to see these people going and seeing what the Jewish community is dealing with and taking it seriously instead of just putting out dumb statements like, I care about Jewish people. I love Jewish people. Hassan too. Like, Hassan needs to go do that. He needs to go to Shabbat service and light the candles and sing with everybody. And he then see like, oh, we can't do this out in the synagogue because we get death threats now. He's like, really? I didn't know that. Like, yeah, we have to have it at the special place now. And we stopped doing this because of security concerns, because of the rhetoric out there. Like, we don't see that. We just see a bunch of dumb statements about how much I love Jewish people. And then they wonder why anti-Semitism is popping off. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I think it's just Israel. No, I would argue that 90% of the anti-Semitism is due to the rhetoric around Israel.
Hassan kissed the wall?
Yeah, needs to go to the Western Wall. Put a piece of paper in between the old wall. I don't know, man. We need to see more action, less words, less talking, more action, right? Let's see some action. That's all. That would help a lot. But anyways, I'm not going to stick around much longer here, but it's just funny to me how Hassan, he hurts Abdul El Sayed's campaign every single day. And it's not even old quotes now. Now, this is something he did this weekend that caused a lot of grief and forced El Sayed to put out a statement. And he's responsible for that. If he didn't do this, then it wouldn't have happened. If he would just shut his mouth and stop this nonsense, this wouldn't have happened today, that El Sayed had to put out a statement and make everybody mad. Now he's got everybody upset at him. Even his own supporters are mad. Hassan's mad. Everybody's mad. And it's all Hassan's fault. It's all Hassan's fault. Instead of realizing, hey, I could get a guy who is very critical of Israel into the U.S. Senate, who will say things on the Senate floor that I couldn't dream of a senator saying a year ago. So what I'm going to do is shut my trap and stop talking about this and stop causing problems. And until he gets elected. Then I can go back to doing my thing. He cannot bring himself to do it. He has to continue to go down this road and risk it all. And it's kind of sad to see the whole thing fall apart. He is responsible. It's his fault, and he takes no responsibility. That's why I wanted to watch this. I wanted to see if Hasan would take any responsibility. And of course, I knew the answer ahead of time, but you can see how like sad he is that this is happening. And he I don't know why he cannot look in the mirror and go, I did this and I fucked up. And here's what I did wrong. Can't do it. It just shows that he loves the attention more than helping Syed win. When has Hasan ever taken responsibility for anything? Well, maybe a happy ending.
Not just Syed, but also Mamdani need to mend some fences too. The horseshoe is crazy, from the Charlottesville, DYD, and now Hasan. What a time.
I think this is finally a moment where Hasan's actions have consequences for something he supposedly cares about. And I think a lot of people on his side may start getting mad at him for causing these problems, especially if Syed puts out something more forceful next time. And imagine that. I think people care more about Syed than Hasan because he stands for a movement. He will really have power, whereas Hasan doesn't have power. And Hasan feels like he plays a role in that. But in the end, I think El Sayed is much more important for this movement than Hasan. And I think he's going to find that out soon, because if things keep going down this road, El Sayed is going to, I think he's a smart guy. I think he's going to realize I have to do something much harsher here. And who loses, me or Hasan? It's going to be him. Hasan, not me. El Sayed is not going to go down with the ship to save Hasan. I think he's just very hesitant to throw Hasan out, because if you ask me, I would guess that he thinks Hasan represents like young Muslims in America, and maybe even more general than that, people who haven't had a voice in our politics in the halls of power. And he doesn't want to abandon him because it gives in to the mob and the people in power and the establishment. And he cares about him.
It's pure ego. He can't bring himself to admit fault.
And yeah, I don't think Hasan is a Muslim anyways, but this has all been like projected on Hasan because of his America Deserved 9/11. And when it comes, well, I think just that, honestly. I guess my point is, I don't think El Sayed is protecting Hasan from a bad place. I believe that he thinks he's doing the right thing. Most people do. He thinks he's doing the right thing. He thinks it is a good thing. And I can respect that. I can appreciate that. But it's not, this is too serious right now. And we're running out of runway between now and November 3rd. And El Sayed spent today dealing with this bullshit instead of talking about Trump's economy and the affordability crisis in the state of Michigan. And this is not going to win. This is not going to win the race. He called himself a Muslim today. Oh, wow. I think he thinks that too, but I also think he fears losing a chunk of support. I don't think El Sayed will lose any support if he abandons Hasan. I think he'll lose very, very little support. He'll gain support. The only argument I've heard is, oh, he'll be seen as Two-Face, and people will think he's not serious because he abandoned his position from before. So what? People do that all the time. I don't think the net loss will, I don't think there'll be a net loss. I think there'll be a huge net gain if he throws Hassan under the bus. Said he was a Muslim to excuse why he's attacked. Wow. You want anti-Israel people in power or not? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, here's an opportunity to have a guy who has a pretty strong position on the Israel issue in the U.S. Senate. I mean, you couldn't ask for more if you actually care about this issue and want to see some progress here. I personally don't think there's much El-Sayed can do or anyone can do as one senator with Israel, because we're pretty much done with Israel now. Everybody is mad at Israel, and Israel's saying, don't send us anything. I mean, maybe there'll be a vote or two about cooperation between our military or something like that, but it's minimal at best. I mean, so there's not really much, but symbolically, you can have a guy standing on the Senate floor with the title of U.S. Senator for the next 6 years, blasting Israel and pointing out negative things. And what a gift if you're in this camp. But the one thing standing in his way right now is Hassan. But I think Hassan is about to find out that his actions have consequences if Sayed loses, right? He's kind of seeing the wheels turning, that he can't control this. He can't just bullshit his way out of this. He cannot just scream and point fingers and say everybody's wrong and come to my defense. He now is on the losing end because of that statement from El-Sayed where he acknowledged that it was what Hassan did was wrong. He didn't condemn him. He didn't throw him aside, but he acknowledged that what Hassan did was not right. He didn't try to make excuses for it. He acknowledged it was wrong. And if Hassan ends up costing him this race, I think that it actually hurts Hassan. Like, look at him. You can tell he's like kind of shook by this whole thing. He'll blame us. He will, sure. But he knows in his heart that him being the center of attention on a daily basis is not helping. And he can't help himself because this is all he knows is to attack, and to talk shit and to run his mouth. And he can't stop. He cannot stop. So he's about to see the consequences if he keeps this up. And I don't know how he's going to stop. He doesn't seem capable of it. I think you're giving Hassan way too much credit and underestimating his clout addiction. I don't think so. I think I'm making the case for that exactly. What do you think about Jeremy? Seems like a great guy, but I'm not sure he has a chance of winning that race. Hutch mentioned that part of him wants to win the Senate by winning every seat except for Michigan. And I feel like this is why I'm talking to you guys more and more about how we can win the Senate without Michigan. There are multiple paths to winning the Senate without Michigan.
Imreally winning.
God of Doors, thank you for the resub. We need to flip 4 seats if we hold on to Michigan. If we lose Michigan, we need to flip 5. The two lowest hanging fruit are Maine and North Carolina. North Carolina is in the lean Dem category at this point by Cook Political Report. So that's 2. I think Maine, though Troy Jackson is struggling to get any attention, and I called that a mile away, but hopefully he can pull it together and just kind of sail across the finish line. But that's 2. And then now we're talking Iowa, Ohio. These are both toss-up now, and Alaska's a toss-up too. And Texas. So that's 4. That's 6 right there that are all, I think, up for grabs right now. Texas, Iowa, Ohio, Alaska, Maine, North Carolina. That's 6. So we have a little breathing room. I'm not saying we're going to win them all, but if we win 5, then we can lose Michigan. So you can see how we've got a little bit of room there. I still think we win Michigan right now, but boy, Every day it gets harder and harder. Is what it is, man. All right. It is like 9 o'clock my time, so I do got to get out of here. But thank you guys all for chilling, man. I'm still feeling very optimistic about the midterms. It's just this race in particular is a bummer. But the other races are all going very well, and everybody's on message and talking about Trump and the economy. And, this is our weakest link right now. But I don't really see this dragging down other candidates outside of Michigan. This feels very focused on Michigan. I don't see John Ossoff and Tallarico having to respond to this bullshit. And when they do, they have good answers anyways. Might need to see another poll, but we had a poll with Arkansas looking in play. Hey, man, I appreciate the optimism, but I don't even begin to look at super red states like that. But yeah, you never know. I think there was like a poll that showed Tom Cotton +2 or something. So it was like super close. Look, if we have a really good night, I could see Nebraska going our way, and Dan Osborne is an independent. He said he won't caucus with anybody, but he's for sale, according to him. And there, there's a bunch of races out there. So who knows? South Carolina. Oh, by the way, tomorrow we've got the special election results for replacing Lindsey Graham on the ballot in November. And Darlene Graham is not looking so good after that debate performance, but we'll be watching the results come in tomorrow. I think the polls close at 7 p.m. Eastern, so it'll happen pretty quickly. Trump in a bit of trouble in that race, though, because he's all in on Darlene Graham. And if she loses tomorrow, wow. That'll be a sign of weakness. DEI Arlene. Yeah. Okay, listen, guys, thanks for all the subs and the super chats and the bits and the gift subs. Shout out to the Kit crew. Taco Cat, thanks for the 25. Yeller, thanks for the 20. You guys are crazy, man. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful night, guys. I will see you tomorrow. We got that South Carolina election. Should be good. Have a good one. Bye-bye.